fight, couldn't he, huh? Mike Tyson, boy, you talk about a piece of work, but he could fight, couldn't he, huh? Mike Tyson, boy, I tell you, Mike has been loyal to me. Whenever they come out, they say, Trump's a racist. You know, it's like a statement. Trump's a racist. Mike Tyson goes, he's not a racist. He's my friend. He's been there from the beginning, good times and bad. But Mike Tyson's a great guy, and he was so loyal, always been loyal. And Herschel Walker, speaking about loyal, how good a football player was Herschel? Herschel Walker, now he's ambassador to the Bahamas. I don't know, Bahamas, Bermuda. Is he Bahamas? Whatever. It's nice, a nice place. You'd like that, Bruce, wouldn't you? Bruce wants it. And a guy I became really, he liked Trump, Jim Brown. He was tough. He'd come in, he was very silent. He was silent but deadly. He'd come in and he'd look at people, and if he didn't like them, he'd just look at me and he'd go, no good. He wanted to rip their heart out. I would say there can't be a greater football player than Jim Brown. By the way, Lawrence Taylor, great friend. The great Lawrence Taylor, the greatest defensive player probably in the history of football. He's a great friend of mine. And, but I'm longer off the tee than him. You know why? Because I take the club back further. He takes the club back this far, and he hits it 200 yards. When you can do that, you're strong. He is a great guy, I'll tell you that. And all of the
despair, leaving the way. But he never gave up. He continued to fight for what he wanted, but what he, I think, knew was right to do.
Did you ever see him despair?
I mean, I kind of think we all were in a place of despair, leaving the White House in 2021. You know, when we got on the plane to fly down to Palm Beach for the last time, we got on Air Force One for the last time of that term, it was very somber. I mean, it was an incredibly tough time for all of us. And I think it was an incredibly tough time for him. But what's amazing is that we flew down to Palm Beach. No one really had a lot to say. He told all of us that he wanted to have dinner that night. And none of us really knew how that would go. And the first thing he did before he even sat down at the dinner table is he looked around at all of us and he goes, well, kids, I got to do it again. And I said, oh my God, this has been one of the craziest past couple months. You know, you had all the nonsense with January 6th, people insinuating we're these horrible monsters, the torture after the election in 2020 that we all had to endure.
I got to do it again. The kid said, okay. All right, chat. I made it.
As a country, like all of it. And he went through all of it and left Washington, D.C. and hours later knew he was going to do it again. And
okay. Is that good? Why is that good? Why is that good, folks? Tell me. That's so good. Oh my God. Like, we're going to do it again. Like.
And Pacific, killing at least 11 people. Again, providing no evidence that the boats were carrying. Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. The U.S. military says it's carried out strikes on 3 boats in the Caribbean and Pacific, killing at least 11 people. Again, providing no evidence that the boats were carrying drugs. Since September, the U.S. military has carried out 42 known strikes on small vessels in the waters near Latin America, killing at least 145 people. The recent strikes come weeks after the U.S. attacked Venezuela and abducted its president, Nicolas Maduro, and his wife, who are to face trial in New York on drugs, weapons, and narco-terrorism charges. The Washington Office on Latin America, an advocacy group, said, quote, "Those being killed by U.S. military strikes at sea are denied any due process whatsoever," unquote. As U.S. and Iranian officials held negotiations over Iran's nuclear program in Geneva, Switzerland Tuesday, Iran temporarily closed parts of the Strait of Hormuz, a key international waterway through which 20% of the world's oil passes. Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei warned, quote, "The strongest army in the world might sometimes receive such a slap that it cannot get back on its feet," unquote. Tehran's foreign minister cautioned more work still needs to be done in reaching a nuclear deal, but expressed some optimism about the negotiations.
I can say that in this round, there were quite serious discussions and a more constructive atmosphere than in the previous round. Various ideas were raised, and these ideas were seriously discussed, and finally we were able to reach a general agreement on a series of guiding principles. From now on, we will move based on those principles and enter into the text of a possible agreement.
Meanwhile, Mehdi Mahmoudyan, the Oscar-nominated co-writer of the film It Was Just an Accident, has been released from an Iranian prison. Earlier this month, he was arrested in Tehran after he signed a statement condemning Khamenei and the regime's violent crackdown on anti-government demonstrators. To see our interview with the filmmaker, Jafar Panahi, go to democracynow.org. Peru's Congress has impeached interim Peruvian President José Herri for failing to disclose meetings with Chinese businessmen who are under investigation. His ouster came just about 4 months after taking office. He's the former head of Peru's Congress who also oversaw the removal of his predecessor, Dina Boluarte. Herri is the 6th Peruvian president in the past decade to leave office before the end of a term. Residents of the capital, Lima, took to the streets to celebrate his impeachment.
Very good. Long live Peru. We're always standing, never kneeling. Now I tell my suffering people which have been subjected to thousands of forms of slavery, never again, not one more vote to these far-right parties. We will not trust them at all because they've proven their immorality and incapacity.
Peru is scheduled to hold a general election on April 12th. Here in the United States, a federal judge has blocked efforts by the Trump administration to rearrest Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the Maryland father, who was wrongfully sent to El Salvador's notorious Secat mega prison last March. Since his return to the United States in June, Abrego Garcia has been fighting repeated deportation threats, as DHS has intended to send him to several African countries he has no ties to. U.S. District Judge Paula Zinnes said in a ruling Tuesday the Trump administration, quote, made one empty threat after another to remove him to countries in Africa with no real chance of success. There's no good reason to believe removal is likely in the reasonably foreseeable future, she said. Abrego Garcia's legal team has said he had agreed to the possibility of being removed to Costa Rica, but Judge Zinnes blasted the Trump administration for, quote, purposely and for no reason ignored the one country that has consistently offered to accept Abrego Garcia as a refugee and to which he agrees to go, unquote. To see all our coverage of Kilmar Abrego Garcia's case, go to democracynow.org. In more related immigration news, an immigration judge has blocked the Trump administration from deporting Mohsen Madawi, a graduate of Columbia University who was detained last April over his outspoken support for Palestinian rights. Madawi is a green card holder from the occupied West Bank. He was arrested by ICE in Vermont when he appeared for what he was told would be a U.S. citizenship interview. He spent more than 2 weeks in ICE custody.
Yeah, remember this?
After news of his deportation proceedings had been terminated, Madawi
W.
said in a statement,
Ross.
quote, in a climate where dissent is increasingly met with intimidation and detention, today's ruling renews hope that due process still applies and that no agency stands above the Constitution. This is not the end of the story. It's the beginning of a deeper commitment to peace, dignity, and justice, he said. To see our interviews with Mohsen Madawi, go to democracynow.org. Department of Homeland Security spokesperson Tricia McLaughlin, one of the most vocal supporters of President Trump's immigration crackdown and deportation campaign, is resigning. The move comes amidst intensifying scrutiny over DHS's use of deadly force and public backlash against President Trump's deployment of federal agents to Chicago, Minneapolis, and other cities nationwide. Earlier this year, Public Citizen reported McLaughlin's husband's company, the Strategy Group, was granted part of a $220 million contract to run an anti-immigration advertising campaign for DHS. ProPublica also reported last year McLaughlin's husband, Ben Yoho, worked on one of DHS Secretary Kristi Noem's ads filmed at Mount Rushmore. This comes as calls grow for Noem's impeachment and resignation. Following news of McLaughlin's departure, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries said on social media, quote, another MAGA extremist forced out of DHS. Noem next, keep the pressure on, he said.
Yep.
A 2-month-old baby, Juan Nicolas, who became gravely ill while detained at ICE's South Texas Family Residential Center in Dilley, has been deported, along with his parents and 16-month-old sibling. That's according to Texas Congressmember Joaquin Castro, who had demanded the baby's release after news he'd been rushed to the hospital Monday. Baby Juan had reportedly been detained at the Dilley jail for about a month. Univision reporter Lydia Terrazas had spoken to Juan's mom, who told her the baby had suffered a health episode choking on his own vomit. When he was taken to Dilley's medical area, guards were told there was no doctor available inside the jail at that time. In Bangladesh, the country's new prime minister, Tariq Rahman, was sworn in Tuesday after his party's landslide win in parliamentary elections. Rahman returned to Bangladesh last year after 17 years of self-imposed exile in the United Kingdom. Voters also approved a raft of changes to Bangladesh's constitution aimed at preventing authoritarianism. This comes after Bangladesh's former prime minister, Sheikh Hasina, was sentenced to death for ordering a deadly crackdown on student protesters who successfully toppled her government in 2024. The UN reports 1,400 people were killed and thousands were injured in the crackdown. In Minnesota, independent journalist Georgia Ford and activist Treherne Cruz pleaded not guilty in federal court in St. Paul yesterday. They were indicted on federal charges in connection with the protests last month at a St. Paul church where the pastor is also an ICE official. Don Lemon also pleaded not guilty, along with 4 others, including protest leader and civil rights attorney Nikema Levy Armstrong. This is Georgia Ford speaking to supporters gathered outside the federal courthouse in St. Paul Tuesday. She called attention to the attacks on journalists in the United States and around the world.
This is a global crisis. According to Al Jazeera, more than 250 journalists and members of the media have been killed in Gaza, and most people don't even know about it. We live in a time when AI images and AI videos are shaping our world's reality, with a portion of our society living in delusion.
Correct.
So if you stand for truth, I need you to stand up today.
Let's go.
And Late Show host Stephen Colbert is accusing the Trump administration and CBS of censorship after the network informed the Late Show, according to Colbert, that he could not air an interview with James Tallarico, a Texas Democrat running for Senate. CBS said in a statement, quote, the Late Show was not prohibited by CBS from broadcasting the interview with Texas State Representative James Tallarico. The show was provided legal guidance that the broadcast could trigger the Federal Communication Commission's equal time rule for 2 other candidates, including Representative Jasmine Crockett, and presented options for how the equal time for other candidates could be fulfilled, unquote. The FCC had previously issued an exemption for the equal time rule for news interviews, but earlier this year, FCC Chair Brendan Carr mentioned he was considering dropping the exemption specifically for talk shows. Earlier this month, the FCC opened an investigation into the ABC show The View, which also interviewed Tallarico. Colbert's interview with Tallarico was ultimately posted on YouTube outside the jurisdiction of the FCC. It garnered 5 million views. This is Stephen Colbert last night, insisting CBS barred him from conducting his interview with Tallarico live on the Late Show broadcast.
I believe Colbert.
Between the monologue I did last night and before I did the second act talking about this issue, I had to go backstage. I got called backstage to get more notes from these lawyers, something that had never, ever happened before. And they told us the language they wanted me to use to describe that equal time exception. And I used that language. So I don't know what this is about.
CBS is currently owned by Paramount Skydance, run by Trump ally David Ellison, the son of Oracle founder Larry Ellison, who's repeatedly visited the White House during President Trump's second term. Paramount has restarted talks with Warner Brothers Discovery to acquire the company after Warner Brothers previously rejected Paramount's hostile takeover bid last year. The takeover would require the approval of Trump's FCC. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report.
No Curry's being favored there.
I'm in New York with Democracy Now!'s Juan Gonzalez in Chicago. Hi,
right.
Juan.
Hi, Amy, and welcome to all of our listeners and viewers across the country and around the world.
Thanks for watching Democracy Now! On YouTube. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to make sure you never miss a video. And for more of our audience-supported journalism, go to democracynow.org, where you can download our news app, sign up for our newsletter, subscribe to the daily podcast, and so much more.
The first U.S. president to live in the White House was the second U.S. president. It was John Adams. John Adams moved into the White House in November of the year 1800. Before that, while he was president, but before he moved into the White House, before the White House was complete, John Adams lived in Philly. Both John Adams, the nation's second president, and George Washington, the nation's first president, they both lived in Philadelphia in the 1790s while the U.S. Capitol and the White House were being built in D.C. And that house in Philadelphia, where both George Washington and John Adams lived while they each served as president, that house has a really interesting story. Accidentally, the last remaining walls of that house were, by accident, torn down in the 1950s. That was the last standing portion of the house. It was accidentally demolished in the 1950s. Decades later, once archaeologists and historians figured out for sure where that president's house had been, the city got involved. They bought the land. They preserved everything they could. And ultimately, that site was reopened as a National Historic Site. Today, it is sort of an open-air pavilion where you can see the shape of the president's house. You can see the foundations of the original building. They've got artifacts there from the time that George Washington and John Adams lived in that house. And while John Adams, who was from Massachusetts,
more like a statue,
Adams was not a slaveholder, George Washington was. Yeah. George Washington had 8 people who were enslaved to him, who he brought from Virginia to that house in Philadelphia to serve him while he was president. He later brought an additional enslaved person from Virginia to Philadelphia to that house, making it a total of 9. And that is all part of the history there at this historic site in Philadelphia. Now, you've probably heard about the fact that over this past year, President Donald Trump ordered the physical removal of all references to slaves and slavery at that National Historic Site. Well, today, a big change in that case. Today, happy President's Day, a federal judge in the Eastern District of Pennsylvania ordered that the Trump administration must put those references to slaves and slavery back up. The judge in the case is
That's all we need to know. Thanks.
And it's a Texas-sized drama for Democrats with Stephen Colbert in the middle as early voting begins in the high-stakes primary contest for U.S. Senate. Welcome to a brand new hour of America's Newsroom. I'm Dana Perino. Bill Hemmer's off today, and here's to my other Bill. Hello.
Bill Hemner.
You still get a bill
What's
today,
up?
Dana.
That's right.
Hey, he's got the
Good
hairline.
morning to you. I'm
Holy
Bill
hairlines.
Democrats are hoping to flip Texas blue. They've been wanting to do that.
Damn, that's a
now.
Chad
And
hairline
they're
if I ever
pouring
saw
big
one.
bucks into this crowded contest to unseat Senator John Cornyn, making this
Jesus
one of the
Christ,
most
boy,
expensive
taking enough
Senate
finesse
primary
right.
races.
Stephen Colbert claims CBS blocked him from broadcasting an interview with one of those candidates by warning it would trigger the FCC's equal time rule.
You know who is not one of my guests tonight? That's Texas State Representative James Tallarico. He was supposed to be here, but we were told in no uncertain terms by our network's lawyers, who called us directly, that we could not have him on the broadcast.
And Mark Meredith is in Washington with more on all of this. And this show's getting more attention now than it ever has before.
Yeah, Dana, it's a shame it's not sweeps right now because you can imagine the ratings that would be coming out of this. Stephen Colbert is a short timer at CBS, but his decision to interview Democratic Senate candidate James Tallarico over the network concerns may have a long-term impact on both Texas and this year's midterm races. This all started Monday. Colbert says CBS bosses told him he could not broadcast an interview with Tallarico over concerns about the FCC's equal time rule, which requires political candidates get equal time on broadcast TV. Talk shows have been exempted for years. CBS is denying that it ever issued any such orders. Well, Colbert says he's still obliged, taking the interview off TV, posting it online. Well, it went viral, and now he's mocking CBS efforts of damage control.
I'm not a lawyer, and I don't want to tell them how to do their jobs. But since they seem intent on telling me how to do mine, here we go. I don't even know what to do with this crap. Oh, hold on.
Let's go, Colbert!
This TV drama is boosting Tallarico's campaign. It reports raising more than $2 million over the last 24 hours. Timing matters as early voting is underway in Texas.
It's going to take all of us to pull off this feat of winning Texas, but it is doable. I'm seeing it on the ground.
Tallarico's main opponent, Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, says she's too busy focusing on turnout instead of TV. It's notable she said that on television, but her comments come as Democrats vow to spend $30 million to flip the traditionally solid red state blue.
A lot of people are like, there's no way Texas can do this. And I'm here to tell you that even on day one of early voting, we are exploding with participation right now.
Damn, that necklace
Republicans
is
have a primary underway,
nice.
too. Incumbent Senator John Cornyn is fighting for his political career against two challengers, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton and Congressman Wesley Hunt. This race is getting a lot of attention among the GOP, but President Trump, who's aware of what's going on, has not made an endorsement in this contest. Dana.
We're paying attention to all of it. Thanks, Mark.
You bet.
Well, Dana, for more on this, we are joined by former Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy. Mr. Speaker, good to see you.
Good to see you.
So Tallarico is spinning this whole thing as some sort of corporate ploy to try and silence him, while Crockett is saying it's giving him what he wanted. Take a listen.
The most powerful politicians and the most powerful corporate executives are working together to sell out the First Amendment, to sell out our freedom of speech in order to protect their own power and their own wealth.
The Late Show decided that this was the option, and I think that it was a good strategy. I think it probably gave my opponent the boost he was looking for.
Well, she's probably right, because everybody's talking about it now. Give us your thoughts.
Yeah.
Well, she is correct. Well, Colbert is
What
really
the
doing,
fuck?
he's playing in the Democratic primary, thinking he could determine.
Is that Kevin McCarthy? Is that fucking Kevin McCarthy? Am I tripping? Wait. That's got to be Kevin.
The power for the Senate. And you have to understand this for your viewers.
Okay, yep.
To go on the television right now.
Former Speaker of the House. Loser!
Now it's very critical because people in Texas can vote in their primary. Their primary is very early in the beginning of March, so people can vote now. He's picking sides in a Democratic primary. And if somebody can be on television and not have to pay for it, and your opponent has to go and pay money, which hundreds of thousands of dollars to equal that, he's picking sides. So it makes it very critical. And the other thing you have to realize, too, with Colbert, if you read the Newsbusters report, he's had 176 Democrats on his show and 1 Republican. But the Republican was Liz Cheney, only to complain about Republicans.
But here's also another thing. This primary race in Texas is going to cost a lot of money for everybody. And there's plenty of money to go around. Republican ad support for John Cornyn's almost at $60 million. Wesley Hunt at $10 million. Ken Paxton, who's getting some attention, of course, $2.3 million.
I bet Al's already started drinking because Daddy's about to land and Daddy has needs.
All we want from Denmark is this land on which we're going to build the greatest golden dome ever built. We're building a golden dome, that's going to, just by its very nature, going to be defending Canada. Canada gets a lot of freebies from us, by the way. They should be grateful also, but they're not. I watched your Prime Minister yesterday. He wasn't so grateful. But they should be grateful to us. Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that. I want to really get But in doing it, I'm helping Europe, I'm helping NATO, and I've until the last few days when I told them about Iceland, they loved me. They called me Daddy, right? Last time.
This is actually his voice, you guys.
He's our daddy. Should have gotten the Nobel Prize for each war, but I don't say that. I say millions and millions of people. They said, sir, George Washington and Abraham Lincoln,
what is happening to his face?
And ran as president and vice president, they couldn't beat you. There are windmills all over Europe. There are windmills all over the place. And they are losers. One thing I've noticed, China makes almost all of the windmills. And yet I haven't been able to find any wind farms in China. Did you ever think of that? What we did for Israel was amazing, but that's nothing compared to what we have planned for the United States, Canada, and the rest of the world. We are going to build a dome like no other. We did it for Israel. And by the way, they said, wow, that's amazing. I thought President Trump would get it. President Trump deserves it. He ended up 8 wars. You're asking me to double the cost of prescription. I said, that's right, because you've been screwing us. They called me Daddy. Sir, everything you've done has been perfectly executed. I said, I know. Because usually they say, he's a horrible dictator type person. I'm a dictator. But sometimes you need a dictator. Perfectly executed. For minors, do we love minors? I love minors.
Said that if Ivanka were my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know?
Oh, it's so weird.
They called me Daddy.
And then you look at Tallarico and Crockett. 15 for Tallarico.
That's right, guys.
Only about 3 for Crockett. And one of the things that's interesting is, do you remember, Mr. Speaker, about maybe it was just a month ago, there were 2 comedians on the left, and they were talking about this particular race. And they encouraged everybody not to give any money to Crockett. And then there was this outcry, and they apologized. Even though they obviously believed that she would not help them win in that race. So something else is going on here where it's almost as if there are all these other outside factors trying to push into this race.
Oh, really?
Look, it would have been different.
What outside factors?
Guest on 2 months ago because people couldn't vote at that time. He's literally trying to influence election, and money is not equal in politics.
Yes, we're gonna influence the fuck out of it. We're gonna influence the fuck out of it. We're gonna buy our way. We're gonna vote our way. We're gonna get you all out, Kevin. All you old farts are out. You're gone.
When you raise all that money, a candidate gets to buy TV time at a lower rate. So not only did this candidate get free airtime because he played it on YouTube, he raised.
I'm jealous, is what he's saying. I could have never got this kind of traction when I was running for Senate. Or
$2.5 million.
This guy is the biggest fucking loser from California. I'm sorry. He does not represent anything that's good about California.
Crockett's not. They are trying to influence the Democratic primary.
Of course we are.
Dana about this.
Of course we are. We're gonna put all our eggs in the baskets. We're gonna have thousands of little eggs running around, getting these fucking fucks out. You're right, sir.
Said a couple months ago, and everybody rose up. Why aren't the Democrats complaining now? Because he's really going after Crockett. He is trying to influence who becomes the nominee. So he gave them millions of dollars that will go further than outside money will go. And he did not do equal time to the other Democrats running in this election. And he picked the timing right when people started to vote. And then he did the controversy. So
yeah, you think he has a personal vendetta against Trump now at this point? Hello?
Gets more attention. This is worth millions of dollars to one candidate only, that can influence people when they can vote.
Looking at the Republican side of this primary, Senator Fetterman had an interesting observation. He believes that
can't do that on
Republicans should coalesce behind John Cornyn and try to lock in that seat, according to his words. Mr. Speaker, in your opinion, should President Trump make an endorsement in that race? He hasn't yet. He said he likes all three candidates.
Well, it could happen.
I like all three of them.
Come out in the Republican Party and come out in the
That's
Democrat
right.
Party. It could put Texas in play. If you put Texas in play, the Republicans would then have to spend about $100 million. That means there won't be a lot of money for Alaska, maybe Maine or others. So then it puts the whole majority of the Senate in play. I always think it could be very smart, especially when you look at John Cornyn, his support over 99% for President Trump, what he's been able to lead on in the Senate. And if you're sitting at Texas and you want influence, Cornyn is on the right committees, has been able to have the big voice. And just a short time ago was a few votes short of becoming the leader, the Republican leader in Texas. So I think you should think long and hard, because there was a third candidate who got in, could be the spoiler in the Republican primary. You look at Democrats are now playing. Colbert is off.
That's
and
crazy.
His TV show is going to go away. So now he's trying to play politics at the last
I
minute.
didn't even know that.
I think this is wrong. Always allow the voters to vote. Have a fair election. If you have an incumbent that's been doing their job, if you have an incumbent that's been representing Texas extremely well and knows the knowledge,
I literally did not know that. That's crazy.
If you want to make sure you have the majority in there,
There's so much
that
about
Cornyn
Texas I don't
becomes
know.
the nominee coming out of that primary.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, thanks for being here.
Good to see you. Thank
Speaker.
you.
She calls him Speaker.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-host Harris
I'm
Faulkner
catching you
and
all
Kaylee
right.
McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m.
On the flip is what I'm catching you. Oh, what's a week
Good evening, everyone. I'm Tom Shalhoub in for Greg.
Hillary's a little
Very
grouchy.
Special edition of Gutfeld. It's President's Day.
Oh.
Or as I like to say, Washington and Lincoln's birthday. That's the way we should do it. Let's take a close look at how some famous names are celebrating the holiday. Joe Biden celebrated the same way he always does, by setting his clocks back an hour. Nancy Pelosi, she spent the day reminiscing about her first boyfriend.
Who is still thinking about Nancy and Biden at this point? And that's a good joke. That's a good joke. Actually, a good
Jesse
joke.
Waters, he changed his hairpiece to honor our founding fathers. Looks good. Kamala Harris, every time someone said Washington or Lincoln, she did a shot. Bill Clinton spent the day getting a good deal on a mattress. Oh, nice
What
pose.
the fuck?
And Greg Gutfeld, he's using Abe Lincoln's stovepipe hat as a hot tub. Now to some headlines. On Monday, a violent customer at Hong Kong International Airport went
He's
on a
actually
kiosk
funnier than
smashing
Gutfeld.
rampage. He was charged with 2 counts of impersonating a Spirit Airlines passenger. New York City just got its first free grocery store. New Yorkers claim it's taking all the fun out of shoplifting. In England, a prosthetic leg lost by a swimmer 10 months ago finally washed ashore. The woman said it's a big relief since she's been swimming in a circle this whole time. A 6-year-old Girl Scout sold 87,000 boxes of cookies, breaking the all-time sales record. Even more amazing, 86,000 were sold to one customer.
Good number. J.B. Pritzker.
Yep. And finally, a new study shows the average American worker has just
Disabled joke.
$955 in retirement savings, or as one guy calls it,
These guys don't have anything.
A yearly salary.
Only a few people get that joke.
Oh. So at the
No
Munich
one gets that
conference,
joke. Come on.
Which basically is Davos with less attractive prostitutes. Hillary
nightly
Clinton
news.
made a startling admission. And no, it's not the one you're thinking. That wouldn't startle anyone. She's finally conceding that loose border policies went too far.
There is a legitimate reason to have a debate about things like migration.
Is there?
It went too far. It's been disruptive and destabilizing.
Well, she's coming in full swing on that one. This better not be their ploy.
And it needs to be fixed in a humane way with secure borders that don't torture and kill people.
Dems letting in 20 million illegals was just going too far. That's like OJ saying he may have overdone it on the stabbing.
What?
Now it's shocking to hear
Yeah,
Hillary
why is she
say
saying
the border
that?
was disruptive and destabilizing, because this is the same crowd that insisted no person is illegal. But why the
They are.
confession now?
She didn't say anyone was illegal.
I thought the Republicans were the ones on the ropes. No, we're only hearing this now because Democrats know they've failed. Their policies, the same experiments that our friends in the EU have been running, have caused massive harm. But while she was saving face, Marco Rubio held up a mirror to the West's failures.
But the euphoria of this triumph
Oh, shut
led
up.
us to a dangerous delusion that the
Yeah, what's
ties
that?
formed by trade and by commerce alone would now replace nationhood. That the rules-based global order, an overused term, would now replace the national interest. And that we would now live in a world without borders where everyone became a citizen of the world.
This is gonna be repeated. This speech is going to be in history books, guys.
This was a foolish idea.
But it's not just the border. He claimed deindustrialization, the climate, and basically everything else America and Europe have been doing for the past few decades was a mistake.
To appease a climate cult, we have imposed energy policies on ourselves that are impoverishing our people. We embraced a dogmatic vision of free and unfettered trade, even as some nations protected their economies and subsidized their companies to systematically undercut ours, shuttering our plants, resulting in large parts of our societies being deindustrialized.
He's right. For decades, the pitch was export jobs, import illegals, and save the climate. Globalism became our destiny. Europe bought it, and look where it led them. Their countries look like the next Road Warrior sequel.
No, they don't. Why don't you get a reporter on the ground, show us some of this shit? God. They used to actually have to have people on the ground to talk about shit and show with the lies.
Mass migration strained healthcare and education as illegals committed heinous crimes. And pretty soon, being a British native will be a rarer sight than Prince Andrew at a bar that checks IDs. And this mess is allowed to spread while freedom of speech is limited. In Britain, criminals go free, while data shows 12,000 people a year are arrested for offensive social media posts. These countries have invited chaos wrapped in compassion.
You mean racists are
And
arrested?
they're disintegrating faster than Jamie Lissa.
Racists and Islamophobes are arrested for saying shit online that incites fucking violence quickly? No, I think that's all right.
First marriage. And Rubio.
Your free speech ends when it infringes on my personal safety, sir. Okay?
Rubio made one thing clear: we don't want Europe to suffer, but we won't stand by and watch.
This is why we do not want our allies to be shackled by guilt and shame. And this is why we do not want allies to rationalize the broken status quo rather than reckon with what is necessary to fix it. For we in America have no interest in being polite and orderly caretakers.
This bitch does not speak for me. Or most of Americans, by the way.
Of the West's managed decline.
But Rubio's speech was pivotal for one reason. It was a perfect articulation of Trump's foreign policy on the world stage. The U.S. has completely changed its direction. Secure borders, meritocracy, peace through strength, and a 50%
meritocracy
across-the-board reduction in sucking. And none of this, yeah.
No.
Good chart, right? Look at that chart. And now?
Meritocracy. A society governed by meritocracy. Government or the holding of power by people selected on the basis of their ability. A system where power, status, and rewards are given to people based on their ability and talent and effort merit, not on wealth, social class, or background. In simple terms, it's a society where you get ahead because you're good at something and work hard rather than inheriting your position or relying on connections. Absolute fucking lie. There's no meritocracy
And
here.
none of this would have happened without the president. Republicans, even Rubio, used to buy into this global guilt trip.
What fucking meritocracy, bitch? For you, white, privileged male? Yeah. For this fucking pretend white boy, Cuban boy here? Yeah.
And then Trump came along and said out loud what we were all thinking. Secure borders aren't racist. Putting America first isn't evil. And most importantly, our showerhead pressure is unacceptable.
You just don't know how to buy a shower head. What do you mean? There is no pressure regulations going on here.
Now the left will complain that America first strains our alliances, but Rubio's message was different. America isn't anti-European. We'd like to be friends.
This is why President Trump demands seriousness and reciprocity from our friends here in Europe. The reason why, my friends, is because we care deeply.
Seriousness and reciprocity are stand-in words for something else. And they sound mundane, but they're very strong words under the circumstances of where he is speaking. Like, remember, he's speaking diplomatic language. Like, Trump couldn't do this.
We care deeply about your future and ours.
Rubio showed us what the world would look like if we fight our issues together. So yes, we will help you, but you're not going to take us down with you. After all, that's why we have Democrats.
No, what that means is, you will bow to me, I am King Trump. You will bow. And then, once you have shown proper fealty, to the King Trump, that's me, that's right. Some would say, I'm the king. That Ammon Emanations guy, he really captured my form. That's right. He really got me. He captured my form. I look straight out of Central Casting. That's right. I look so good.
Let's welcome tonight's guest. He's so laid back, they call him the Human Luge. Co-host of Fox and Friends Weekend, Charlie Hertz.
Charlie Hertz.
Kids every day, and they let it go.
You got this guy. The funniest names on Fox News because you got like this guy named Charlie Hertz, like literally a word, like Charlie Hertz. He hurts. Get it? And then you got Brian Kill Me, duh. And he doesn't even say the kill me, duh. He doesn't say the D part. He just says, I'm Brian Kill Me. He literally says that when he signs off. And then you got Greg Gutfeld. And I don't even know what to do with that name, but.
Go to voicemail. Actor, writer, and comedian Jamie Lissow. As an election specialist, she named her dog Hanging Chad. Correspondent at The Federalist, Brianna Lyman.
Huh?
And Paul Bunyan gets all his hand-me-downs. Former NWA world champion and host of the Planet Tyrus podcast.
He's not big anymore. He's tiny. He's smaller than me now.
Charlie Hurt I loved that Rubio speech. When I saw it, I watched the whole thing. I said, this is it. This is the A block.
I told you, bro. This is going to be fucking, this is it.
For Monday's show, we got to do Rubio. And when I was watching the speech, I said, this is such a great speech. I wish Trump gave this speech, but really Trump has given the speech. But people
Dude, I knew he was going to say that. Oh my God.
Seriously.
I almost said that just
as giving a regular old.
Yeah, I bet you he wishes I did it, though.
And he laid
That's
out
right.
the Trump doctrine. Tell me, what do you thought?
He's correct. I would have done it much better than Marco Rubio. I sent him because I couldn't attend. I was busy with the ballroom. That's right.
It's the most beautiful enunciation of the Trump doctrine that we've ever gotten, I think. And I think it's really especially interesting because
it actually is. And it's fucking, like I said, it's absolutely like just racist, white-coded neocolonialism rebranded into something that sounds soft and peddly.
it's 10 years after Donald Trump started this project. And I love the fact that you
Not
started,
even.
You also mentioned the fact
Like I said,
that
if you understand
it's not
diplomatic
just,
language, it's very
American
abrupt.
politics. He changed the Republican Party.
Yeah.
A lot of these people who are now supporting this used to be old Republicans. Now they're new Republicans. And everybody's talking about what a gentle speech this was. There was nothing gentle about this speech. This was a hardball speech. He called out Europe for being a welfare state. He called out...
Look, I mean, he gets paid to analyze just like I do. I don't get paid. He does. He gets paid more than I have ever made since I was born per year to do what he does. And he has the same fucking take as me.
Europe for having open borders, and as you mentioned, the cult of globalism, the cult of environmentalism. He called them out on all of this stuff, but he did it in such.
I call out other cults while being a cult. That's right. We like to do that. I told him to do that. He did a good job. That Marco Rubio, he really came through.
Such an elegant
Hearing
way
good things
that,
about the speech.
In a more diplomatic way than we're used to seeing, say, President Trump do these things. And then, meanwhile, the split screen over here, you have Hillary Clinton talking about how, actually, no, the Democrats want to be the party of border security. Yes. She's going to have a bit of a problem with her own party about this. This midterm and then the primary for 2028 is going to be a madhouse in that party.
He's not wrong.
Based largely on that debate about whether are we going to have borders or are we not going to have borders. And I don't think that party, I don't think Democrats can answer that in a way that will get them elected to national office.
Yes, Tyrus, Hillary came
He's
out
wrong.
there and she said, the border was not good under the last president. But really, it's been the Democrats. It's been Democrat policy. They've all been in favor of open borders. Are they going to try to rewrite history on
Obama, a Democrat, still has the record for most deported people. So we have yet to see if Trump can break that record.
this thing?
So don't talk to me about the Democrats being soft on quote on deportation, okay? Or quote unquote the border.
Well, if you're going to rewrite history, then you would have to understand it first. So that's not happening. You got to understand, Hillary's a little grouchy, and I think sometimes if we don't get enough rest or if we had rough travel, sometimes, we come off a little, you flying a broomstick from the United States to Europe, chances are,
I mean, she is a witch.
Land there and there's no children to eat. It's a little tough, What? She identifies as a witch. I'm living her truth. No, the thing is, like, you're just so angry. Just say it. I hate that man.
Yeah.
It's just, she doesn't do well with presidents. Like, she runs against them, they beat her. She marries them, they diddle the secretary. Like, she's just not good with presidents. Like, I think
he's right.
Whom on the Democratic Party thought it was a good idea to invite Beulah Ballbreaker to the party? I don't understand. Like, I don't. She's the worst. She is the
He's right.
worst person to have speak for you. No one likes her, and everyone's too afraid to say anything.
Yes, I mean, it is a
I'm
good
not.
point, but, who do you got, Brianna? You got Kamala? I mean, who's the standard bearer in the Democratic Party? And I want to get your thoughts on the
She's
Rubio
Chad
speech.
Maxing
Was
with
it
her jawline
not
there.
thrilling to hear Rubio say that. But as I pointed out, Rubio used to
She's
sing a
Chad
different
at
tune.
Maxing.
He was saying it was time to do essentially amnesty, the gang of 5 or 8 or whatever, what gang it was. But he wanted to do a deal on the border.
Gang of 8.
But he wised up like a lot of people. He came to Trump's side of the equation.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's learning, and so many other Republicans are, to Charlie's point. You don't compromise on sanity. And Rubio is the MAGA whisperer for the global elites. And basically what he said to the world stage.
I mean, wow. The MAGA whisperer. Marco Cuban Rubio.
Is we're going to purge that
We're
toxic
definitely taking over
cultural
Cuba.
Marxism that has
I'm
engulfed
sorry.
these European states and even America that has led
Cuba's
to make
getting-
these ridiculous
getting
policy
invaded
choices when it comes to things
by the
like
United
mass
States.
migration. Then you tie that into Hillary Clinton
Venezuela
saying,
was
yeah,
a
I think we
test.
went too far. Look, when you put a frog in a pot of boiling water and you turn
This
up the
ain't
heat
good,
really
dude.
slowly, the frog never jumps. I don't actually
I do it
that.
all the time, Brianna.
No, and thank you, because that supports my witch theory.
See?
Thank you.
Okay, exactly. So you have a cauldron, you're boiling water, right? But you start boiling it slowly so the frog doesn't jump out. And what Hillary Clinton is saying is, we just accidentally boiled the water a little too fast. We just put in 20 million Americans, and that was the problem. But the real problem is that her and her entire party called people like us, people in this room, racist, Hitler, white supremacists, and Nazis for saying the exact same thing that she is saying now, all because we said that, yes, mass migration is cultural suicide.
She didn't say that. You're saying that.
Some cultures are incompatible with the American culture, and it doesn't make you a racist to say that. It makes you a realist. And Marco Rubio touched on that.
And the little dog, too.
Yeah.
So true. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to.
Cultural suicide is a replacement for white genocide. That doesn't exist, by the way, chat. Just so you know. That's right. This is concerning.
All right, guys, the world's top science society's convention now going woke. On its opening night,
Let's go.
traditional Native Americans performed a hoop dancing routine. But what does that have to do with science, critics are asking? The convention also gave attendees the option to display pronouns on their name tags. And it featured several woke workshops. Some of these sessions include this. Listen to these titles. Nurturing diversity in science is resistance. Investigating the role of race in clinical decision-making. Who gets to belong? Disability, power, and participation in higher education. Colonial legacies, climate crises, and the erosion of mobility choice. The society's CEO even took a jab at the Trump administration. Here's what he had to say about Secretary RFK Jr. Watch.
A year ago, I stood up here and I said that RFK Jr. was the wrong person for the job at HHS.
And you were right.
I still feel that way.
You were right.
One attendee wasn't too happy with all of this, telling Fox News Digital this
Oh,
year
cry
felt
me a
like
river,
funeral,
bitch.
with nothing but griping and moaning. Their constant pleas to keep politics out of science are completely undercut by their perpetual whining and endorsing utter craziness. They're happy for.
How can you not have classes like that in the year of Lord 2026? You have to understand, as a scientist in certain fields, how politics interacts. Politics is not removed from humans. Politics exists because humans exist, because these dumbasses are sitting around the fucking chair and yapping every day. Like, what do you mean? Politics doesn't belong in science. How do you separate? Tell me how you separate the two out. I cannot see how you would.
Science to be political as long as it's leftist. And the convention responded with this, quote, "A broad spectrum of the scientific enterprise attends the meeting. The topics covered were wide-ranging across scientific disciplines and are proposed by scientists. AAAS respects their First Amendment right to free speech."
Hello? The
Has
fuck?
nothing to do with this, Kellyanne. I'm like, what?
Yeah, you can't fucking tell universities that are private universities what they can do or what they can teach. What? Okay, we're going to start doing that as leftists. We're going to be like, you know what? All these business schools that are putting all these people with, business administration degrees and are going straight to fucking, Goldman Sachs. Okay, guess what? Nope, that's the opposite of woke. We can't have that. We gotta get those out. Those colleges, we can't teach that kind of business anymore. That kind of business, actually, the Goldman Sachs types is actually ruining the human existence. So we're gonna now come in as leftists and we're gonna say, you know what? The Goldman Sachs guys cannot be spit out of Harvard, quote unquote. That's a woke university, okay? Like a Pez dispenser anymore, and shot straight into fucking the asshole of Goldman Sachs anymore, okay? Because you know what? Those guys are just taking all of our money off the top. They're not helping us. I'm sorry. So, yeah. How about we start doing that? Now, how absurd does that fucking sound? I'm actually talking about something that would work. I'm not even talking about making someone not say something, because that's what's really happening by saying you cannot have a certain type of class. That's a free speech thing. You cannot say, I can't have the most woke class in my college. The only thing you can do is take the money away. Okay?
Yeah, I know. This is incredible. Thank you for laying out all of the names of the workshops. No. Look, we want science to come up with big breakthroughs, to cure diseases, to innovate, to research, and for a discipline.
Every single one of those classes was relating to the human condition, related to science and how it fucks them up, or how the scientists can do better. What do you mean?
Discipline and a convention that's supposed to be about innovation and progress. I feel like I was watching something from 5 years ago.
Okay, you're so smart. Ugh. She's so smart.
And President
Smarty
Trump won
pants.
in large part on fairness, on getting rid of wokeness, on replacing that with fairness. You've got a lot.
Why she got to be wearing my favorite color? I mean,
Of companies running to get rid of DEI programs and hiring. You've got the universities coming to heel, and yet the place where it really should have no status at all, in science, seems to be the place where it literally reigns. Look, I understand everybody's got to get their anti-Trump, anti-RFK Jr. stuff in. Who cares? But I'm very concerned that this is true political science at a time when I do feel like we're falling behind certain things. Instead of pouting and shouting,
did she just say
and
political
rehashing
science
things from 5 or 6 years ago, how about telling?
Did she say political science? So she knows what a political scientist is then. Two words together, specifically a way to talk about the interaction between politics and science. So she just literally, by opening her big ass mouth, gave away the whole idea of what this whole fucking segment's about. She just stuck a foot in Emily Campagno's face, basically. Of course, no one will figure that out. MAGA doesn't pay attention to this shit. They're looking at the gap in her fucking, you know what I mean? MAGA doesn't care.
Telling us something exciting and new about science.
Too bad,
Totally.
guys.
My degree in political science looked a lot different than that back then.
She says, my degree in political... Are you insane? What? How could you... I say it again. How can you be like, science and politics aren't supposed to go together, and then go on to talk about political science? That's why she's laughing, because she knows. Oh my God.
So Kaylee, all right. So
can we move on? Move on.
I'm noticing, by the way, that a lot of my continuing legal education courses have titles really similar to that.
Yes.
And I appreciate your point that it feels so stale and also wrong. I want the titles there to be like genetic la 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 in whatever. It should have nothing to do with the headlines I'm subjected.
Yeah, I want to see something on the superiority of the white gene and how my Italian brothers and sisters were, the superior race. That's the kind of classes I want to take. The fuck did she just say?
On the Washington Post, but here it's completely infiltrated. How is that supposed to reassure us that our biology and science is in good hands?
Yeah, if this is mainstream science, that's highly concerning. Just pull up the image we had on our screen, which was these identifiers you had at check.
Oh my God, they get so fucking bent out of shape about this crap, guys. What is
Which
happening?
was
What the
XI,
fuck?
That's she, XER, I guess that's sure. I mean, I've never heard of these
Sure.
things, but apparently this is science. They also had a 10-minute hoop dance routine from traditional Native Americans. Good for them. I guess that was the entertainment. But here's what bothers me. One of the attendees said,
Yeah, we really didn't like seeing those American Indians hoop dancing. What does that have to do with science? It's called entertainment with a purpose. Ever heard of it?
We're not going back. It's not possible. Too much damage has
Jesus.
been done. Generations of scientists have scars. And I thought to myself, the scars are self-inflicted because you've all ignored the science.
No, the scientists are finding themselves up against the fucking wall and can't do anything. And they're looking for alternatives because of people like you blocking their fucking stuff and making them not advance because they have quote unquote problems with whatever or something because they have a religious background or they're what do you mean?
I'm sure many attendees at this conference were vocal about kids going back to school during COVID. No, I'm sure they were not, but that's what the science said. How many of them have been vocal on identity issues like trans issues and biological reality? I doubt very many of them have. And look at them dance up there. And how many of
I mean, this could be a script in a movie where they're showing like the most racist TV show and they're trying to show you that the world that you're about to enter, this is the opening scene, and they show you this right here. And they show you this woman mocking these people that are indigenous, talking about how universities are corrupt because they're woke, because they're trying to teach things like this. And this would be like the background scene while some guy's getting ready to go to work and you're trying to introduce the world to these people and make them understand that, it's super racist and, everyone's laughing at these people dancing and they don't think that, yeah. Dude, you couldn't write this. Like, yeah, no, I thought, we'd be, 2 years ago I was yapping on here and, my brain was like, well, I might be, decoding a lot of, racist undertones and dog whistles for my chatters, in the future because they're still going to maintain some semblance of not being completely racist pig dogs. But no. Remember, once one of them comes out of the woodwork and comes out of the fucking woods, we get to figure out who the rest of them are, and then they get mad because we call them what they are. Okay? I'm sorry. Like, there's nothing worse than this. This is what enables the fascism to happen. This is what enables people to otherize. And that's the reason I watch this shit. It makes me talk about it. I see it, my brain goes, hook, and I start talking to you about it. This is how they make it normal for you to go, oh yeah, that other people, those immigrants or those others, those trans people, they're not really me. And, I've seen a lot of otherization. Your brain does this. Of course, you don't understand it because you don't, your brain's not going, oh yeah, running through this process that I'm talking you through. No, otherizing is a thing, and Israel does it really good. Israel has trained all of its fucking citizens to otherize the Gazans and the Palestinians to the point where most Israelis do not even think a Palestinian exists. So it can happen. And that's what they're doing. This is the soft otherization. Like,
them have been vocal.
Yeah.
When you look at it, they opted to allow a Beijing-based
right.
Chinese Academy of Sciences at this event. What happened to the Wuhan lab theory, which, by the way, when Donald Trump posited that, there were fact checks. Anthony Fauci came out against it. And as it turns out, Washington Post, how the Wuhan lab leak theory suddenly became credible. Okay, you welcome the China Academy to your science conference. This isn't science, this is propaganda.
And Native American hoop dancing is very sacred and special. So for me, I see that too as, frankly, a cheap use of that to further a sort of woke position. And I wonder who's paying for this. Like, you know, when we pay for that for the cost of...
Why are they dragging China under the bus with this one, too? It's like, what?
Of drugs and prescription, does that somehow go to this? What of my dollars?
Chat, I don't know, bro.
Crap?
I think it's a good question about the overall.
And then she's like, what did it
miss?
What am I paying for? What are my tax dollars paying for? Oh my God.
That this does. It just misses the point.
Can you imagine this being your mom or your grandma or your wife? Well, if it was your wife, you'd probably be like, just like her or them anyway. So whatever. Yeah, it's too bad. Too bad, Emily. Too bad.
You're supposed to, in a room like that, be able to ask
Too bad
questions.
you're not a leftist.
I mean, it's a testing theory. That's what science is. And everybody brings what they have to bear, and then you kind of test each other's theories and what some of their dynamics of laboratory proof have.
Yeah, and that happens with things like politics and science. Political science. That's what they were doing, political science. Dude, I have college degree. I have college, not a degree, but I have college courses behind me, but I didn't need those college courses to teach me any of what I'm talking to you about. Holy shit.
And it's an opportunity to do all of that.
You went to Harvard?
The hoop dance can be very beautiful. It's about unity. I expect that room to be about something else. I want that room to be almost contentious. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want people to say, no, that's not it. It's this, it's that. This is what I can prove. This is my theory, and let's jump in.
She's like, I'm the last one on this. I don't know where to go with this. It's all fucked up. I'm just going to say something totally weird.
No, but that's not what's happening there. And by the way, this is where the Democrats miss politically, over and over. You mentioned TDS, not by name, but Trump derangement syndrome. They're so focused on showing what is negative and going against something that they can't tell you one word about how they would replace it.
You know what would really piss off Fox News and their ilk and Trump's cronies and all the MAGA? You know what would really piss them off, chat? This is what would really piss them off, I'll tell you. Is if the Democrats came out, switched their party, AOC'd it, ran AOC, and didn't mention once the Trump ad. Not one Trump ad, not one single bad Trump ad. Not one single, and still won, because they would. Not one single bad Trump ad. Just not one single ad saying, oh, Trump bad, Trump bad, Trump bad. Because guess what? We all know that. And again, I come back to, instead of that, they do the Mamdani style. He didn't even talk about Trump, really. That's what I'm saying. You can do that. You can run. You can run for the Democratic nomination. If you were AOC-ish and leftist just a little bit more than that, you could do that. I think that would work. Like, you don't need to mention this anymore. You take away their fucking ammo. You guys, they don't have shit. They can't say TDS anymore because no one cares. No one's talking about him anymore. Fuck him.
How they would make it better.
Yeah.
How they.
I mean, you tertially talk about it because you're talking about the United States of America, but you don't lead and say Trump bad, Trump bad, Trump bad, Trump bad 7 times in your speech, and then go, oh yeah, health care for everyone. Don't know about that, but it sounds good. And that's what you run on. Trump bad, Trump bad, Trump bad, Trump bad, and maybe health care. Don't know. Am I wrong, chat? By the way, what is happening? How do I have so many viewers today? It's crazy.
It would be different in a positive way.
Hit that follow
button.
So
I don't think it's helpful to point out how you're different than President Trump. He's in office right now, and get a load of that economy cooking up jobs last week. Get a load of some of the stuff that's
And then the host goes ahead and says pretty much what I just said. God damn it. I definitely feel like I have to say, I'll give Fox News one thing, and only because they can and because they will, because they need the ammo. They understand how bad the Democratic Party is. They do. They have no reason to even lie about it. That's the thing. That's why I'm saying we're handing them the W. We're handing the W over to Fox News. Like, can we stop, please?
Going on. No one asked for
Can we fucking listen to Hassan Piker and his ilk, please? What's up? How you doing? That's right. Did you hear that Kash Patel supposedly knows who runs Antifa? We figured out their funding mechanism. Just wait a couple months, we'll tell you.
Perfection except for the left. Everybody else would just like something we haven't seen. That's production.
There goes the fight,
we didn't
friend.
have that in the last 4 years under Biden.
Jeremy, how do you see this?
Yeah, I mean, well, I think of it as a dad. I hate to admit this, but a lot of the recommendations and the research that they do, it does factor into our day-to-day lives. I mean, when I'm looking at which prescription to give my kids, which over-the-counter medicines, and I get which dosage. My wife and I will often look on ChatGPT trying to see what the science say about this. What do they say about this? Is this too much for a kid of this size?
Dude, 6 weeks? I forgot that they left. You told me. Someone probably. So were they skinny?
And the idea that I'm supposed.
Yeah, they get pissed off. That's normal. It'll pass. I've had that happen before with cats. 2 months, one cat went away once in New Mexico when I was younger.
Supposed to trust them with important things like my kids' health care, but then also
Yeah,
these are
then
the same people.
definitely was being fed somewhere else, unfortunately. You gotta, yeah, which is good. But then she was like, I'm out. I'm going back.
Who are going by they, them,
That's funny.
and now she.
Cats are so interesting.
Now, I mean, I think the Chinese leader wants his name back, by the way. I mean, it really is.
Xi Jinping.
I mean, so these people can't even
That's
tell
right.
me what a man is
Chat.
or a woman is, but in our
Xi
day-to-day lives,
Jinping.
we have to trust that they're giving us factual information in regards to healthcare and science and everything else. That is what's most disturbing to me, is that we have a major trust problem, and it's only getting worse.
Well said. Hey, everyone.
Yeah, it's like, it's just because of like the distance. And, whatever cat language they speak, sign language, she probably told them about her adventures, and she's pissed off at her. Fuck you. You got to go outside. Fucking, how dare you? Yeah, there you go. Just consider it. Just treat her. Let's just try to, definitely wouldn't let them outside.
I'm Emily Campagno.
At least a couple weeks.
Catch me and my co-host Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.
God, they were gone 6 weeks though. Shit.
All right, the old queen, washed up old queen,
You wonder
lame
if the
duck,
person was letting
Donald
them out. They
Trump.
probably were.
Everybody knows his presidency is toast. And when you get into the MAGA movement,
You ought to tag her. Yeah, you ought to tag them though. I always thought if there's any good way to track, don't they have air tags for cats? Or is that not a good thing when they go outside?
there are different segments
If they
of
choke
it.
themselves
There's
on
like
the
the
fence.
rich. We've got FU money, but we're going to be submissive to this old man so that we can not pay taxes and get government contracts. You have that group. Then you have just the, rural base, redneck.
No, they can go
cultists.
days without eating.
And then you have all of the
But
people
not 6
on
weeks.
like online.
Not
the
6
online
weeks. You would have
trolls.
noticed. They
And
would have been
within
skinny
that
as fuck.
group, it's Fissure City. I mean, they are all seeing we have to have a career after this. And I've always been concerned about what Trump is incubating.
my
What
black
is
cat, she
MAGA
could last 2
incubating
weeks
right now? And
outside.
how
She's
much
so-
worse is it
she's
going to be?
overweight,
Well,
so she'd
Nick
be fine.
Fuentes, who is a self-confessed neo-Nazi, one of the worst human beings on the planet, apparently gay, but homophobic. I mean, you get it, like a total Freudian catastrophe. Here he is on Trump right now. Play the
I like how she says Freudian catastrophe because that's really what it is.
clip.
My message in 26, you could take it or leave it.
Yeah, he's telling Trump to fuck. off. And he's telling his little minions to stay home and not vote, which means these MAGA hats, fucking clavicular guys, 18-year-old Gen Alphas that missed the boat on any kind of politics at all are going to now just sit at home probably.
Don't vote. Don't vote. Do not vote in the midterms. The Republicans have to lose. They have to lose. They have to crash and burn. A cleansing fire is the only thing that will save us. It cannot be fixed. Fuck them. Fuck Trump. Fuck MAGA. Fuck all this stuff. It can't be fixed. If it could have been fixed, it would have been fixed in 2025, but it wasn't. They made every mistake. Liberation Day, disaster. Doge, disaster. Big beautiful bill.
Actually, Doge was not a disaster because you're missing the point, you dumbass. Doge wasn't about anything. It wasn't about what they told you it was about. None of it was what they told you it was about. And leftists told you stupid ass motherfucker a long time ago that wasn't what they were talking about. And if you would have listened to any of us, you would have understood that. But you didn't care. Now you're going to come, MAGA sucks. I didn't see it coming. These guys are the weakest types. Okay, number one, not only is he the racist, but even trying to pedal back. Him and Anna, they're the weakest type of people, man. They don't have any conviction. I will keep my convictions down to 0 subs. Wait. Oh, I have 0 subs. Okay. Well, negative sub. I'll take
disaster.
I'll take my convictions down to negative subs. I don't fucking care. That's my point. I'm like, not this guy. Not Anna, you know?
Epstein files.
He's trying to drift back a little bit to the right. MAGA, I really want racism. And they're not doing it good enough. Not good enough racism, folks.
Disaster. Iran, disaster. The personnel, Mike Waltz, disaster. Ratcliffe, disaster. Rubio, disaster. Pam Bondi, disaster. All self-inflicted. Trump personnel, Trump policy, Trump strategy, Trump playbook. We tried it your way. It didn't work. Fuck you. Now we don't vote. That's the message.
Okay.
Seriously. Can't blame anybody else. Bad advice, bad advisors, Biden's economy. Enough already. It didn't work. We're not voting. I'm staying home, and you know what? I hope the Democrats impeach him. I hope the Democrats impeach all of them. I hope they indict everybody. I hope they depose and compel the release of documents, and I hope they find all the criminal behavior, and I hope it destroys the GOP. I hope it creates a crisis for the GOP so severe that they never recover. And then I hope we get a fucking Nazi to run in 28.
See?
Okay.
Yep.
So as you can see, number one, Trump is so unpopular. He's even unpopular with the neo-Nazis right now. Number two.
Yeah, but unfortunately, he represents that group of kids that are like the right wing, quote unquote, young voters. They all watch him.
The fact that Nick Fuentes has
Aiden
this
Ross
optimistic view of a pit bull-like Democratic Party.
You got to think of them like the Aiden Ross people that are like political. If you can call it political, it's really just being racist.
Because that shows you the way they act, the way they think. Indictment.
No.
It's objectively obvious that all of these people should be indicted. It's objectively
No, it's nihilistic
obvious
too.
that
The way he
the
talks.
Republican Party should be torn to the ground. What he's banking on here is that the Democrats.
I mean, I talk like that sometimes
and
too.
they would do a soft serve version of those things. And then it would incubate because Democratic policies move so slowly and so incrementally in favor of corporate donors so much that it would incubate a neo-Nazi candidate. Trump's worse than W. And so on. Who's going to be worse than Trump? Is it going to be a Nick Fuentes, a Nazi? If the Democrats don't get serious about
he's like, yep, I'm running for president.
Getting rid of corporate donations and servicing corporations more than they do their citizens, this will be incubated.
Nick Fuentes is going to have to do an AOC before he can become president.
It's worse looking forward. One thing that I found interesting about Nick Fuentes and his rant is I hear all the time from MAGA people in real life and see online. Everybody gives a pass to Trump for all of his terrible appointments, for all of his terrible policies. Well, it wasn't his, it was Stephen Miller's. Well, you know, Pam Bondi didn't want to release the files. It's not Trump. And so what I see from him is he is actually holding Trump accountable. That yes, Trump is supposed to be in charge of all these decisions, personnel, policy.
She's looks maxing.
If he puts idiots around him, it's because he too is an idiot. So I thought that was interesting. In addition to, I mean, he is a deplorable person. There's no question, but he is, I mean, he is so ingrained in the MAGA, you know, in a set of the MAGA sphere. It's terrifying.
But I would point out that in every other world on the planet, the president is responsible for the president's decisions.
Of course.
It's only the MAGA cultists. So even a neo-Nazi piece of shit like Nick Fuentes points out the obvious. It is the MAGA cultists that have, against there's something inside everybody that you know that is MAGA felt something at some point in the last 11 years that was not favorable towards this man, that was stomach turning towards Donald Trump. But they went ahead and capitulated to their worst human urges instead of listening to their intuition. And this collectively broke millions of Americans, and it's broken all of these people surrounding Trump. It is a what I call MAGA psychosis. And in any other world, if there's a CEO of a company and there's a bunch of fuckery below that, the CEO...
It's not MAGA psychosis, Jen. It is fascism. And it's like, it is, once you're in the club, it's like, it's the same as the fucking Epstein shit, because all those people had to maintain the silence. And once you're in, there's like a way you are. If you've ever been, you know, in a cult, you would understand.
The buck stops with him. In the former Republican Party, the buck stopped with that guy. This is a cult. And so even Nick Fuentes, a neo-Nazi, he's not going to play.
I did not watch this, I swear. I need to go on with these girls, but I'm not fucking, I got no clout.
Play this patty cake. Oh, it's Pam Bondi's fault because it's so stupid. That only exists.
You see me interviewing them, you know I'm
no
good.
other planet, no other human being with a triple-digit
awesome.
IQ, 100 or higher, would ever even come to the conclusion that somehow Trump was not responsible.
I mean, yeah, you're right. He's halfway there, though, man. Like, you're right about that. In your opinion, not in my opinion as well. Yeah. And also the fact that, like I always talk about on my channel, it's like the decline of fucking capitalism, and we are the head spear of that, right? And you can just see it. You can just see it in one little iota, and that is how much we still spend on defense versus how much we spend on healthcare. And you'll notice when you go around, you see people in America, they have the worst teeth of anyone. And it's because dental in this fucking country costs $1 billion.
Responsible for the absolute abject failure that is his second term. We had zero job growth in 2025. That all falls on Trump and all of his decisions. Okay, next up, we have top MAGA podcaster, and one of Trump's loudest cheerleaders says, I'm done.
This is fucked
I've
up.
never seen so many fucking lies. Play the clip.
Been pretty quiet about Pam Bondi in front of Congress the other day, talking about how the Dow's up to 50,000. Nobody gives a fuck, because what you should be talking about is how you are going to investigate and
this would be, in my opinion, another kind of Nick Fuentes-y kind of type guy.
Prosecute any pedophiles that were running around on Epstein Island
Obviously
that you're
older.
affiliated with. But we didn't talk about that, did we? Oh, and what's the excuse? What was the excuse? Oh, if we prosecute everybody, the whole system would go down. Well, you know what that sounds like? You know what that sounds like? That sounds like how Trump ran his campaign. Let's drain the swamp. Doesn't that sound a lot like draining the swamp? It actually is drain the swamp served up to you on a fucking silver platter. But you're not going to take it, are you? You're going to protect pedophiles. You're going to protect pedophiles rather than go after them and hope that everybody's happy that the Dow hit 50,000.
Yeah, so this guy represents the MAGA side that is like, we need the fucking Epstein files, and we want the government to be reduced to nothing, and they thought Trump was really going to do this, and a lot of MAGA voted for Trump because of this. The sentiment this guy's saying, and what you just saw from Nick Fuentes as well, is another thing.
1,000. Are you fucking out of your mind?
No, I know.
I guess
yeah.
the whole drain the swamp campaign promise was another fucking bullshit lie, huh? Man, the lies are stacking up fast. I've never seen so many fucking lies appear in, what, a year?
Dude, what'd you expect, you dumb fuck?
I get, I mean, this is going to be the frustrating part about having seen what he was from the.
Yeah, well, also, but like, listen to the leftists first. Come on.
The jump.
Right.
That even these people who actively, campaigned for him and helped with his lies, that somehow kept this thing that Trump is this brilliant businessman and he's so patriotic,
And that's basically, I was talking earlier, I don't know if you were in the channel, but I was talking earlier when Marco Rubio was talking. The Rubio speech at the summit, and he was talking, that's basically what he was telling Europe. He's like, yeah, we believe in the superiority of the neoliberal agenda, but in order to fuck with us, you gotta be bowing to Trump. We don't want no bullshit. I mean, that's really what he said, if you want to put it down to brass taxes. And a bunch of fucking like genetic improper like situations about like the history of how things happened and how the white race is so great and all that stuff was going on there in that speech as well. So it's pretty crazy.
What's that guy's name? Sean Ryan or Pat Ryan or something?
Yeah, I think it's Sean Ryan.
Yeah,
Sean Ryan. So, they all participated in these lies. And I don't think it's going to be helpful to do. And I've told you so shit. And that's something all of us here in this community, it's going to be a very difficult thing to not do. But they all see it. He's a lame duck. He has dementia. He is best friends with a pedophile and more than likely probably a pedophile himself.
Probably.
Well, and it's just, here's the thing.
Probably. Shout out to the miners. Who likes miners? All you got to say.
Hey, we go back to when Trump first came down the escalator. It was drain the swamp. I'm a businessman, and everybody thought because of The Apprentice that in fact he was a good businessman. And then you find out he's a con from start.
I didn't. I used to watch that show and laugh. I thought he looked like a clown, man.
Start to finish, this man
like,
is a con.
Clown.
So I have been so focused on the protection of pedophiles and how women have been treated and sexually abused and adjudicated rapists. Now we have Epstein survivors coming out saying he participated.
Like, why can't YouTube be like, yo, I'm just going to put a feed where you go and it says news. Anyone that puts the news and politics tag on their YouTube live stream, you can scroll through it. Jesus. YouTube? No.
I'd kind of forgotten about the drain the swamp. And really, when you think about it, I mean, they believed because they didn't go, there's a sect of the population that was so rah-rah Trump. I mean, I think it was racism, but that's not what we're talking about. But they thought because he was an outsider and that everybody gets so sick of Washington, which we know people get sick of Washington and the elites. But the drain the swamp thing, I mean, he's mad about it. And I had kind of forgotten about, so focused on his pedophile protection and all the corruption and the cons and the breaking the law every day. But I guess people are still, I mean, they were holding on to that.
Yeah.
I
said,
there's some real meat on.
Yeah, that's like that's what I said. Like they really voted for him because of that. And that's why some, even some guys like him that would have like voted normally for maybe a Democrat, even like say Bill Clinton, would probably voted for MAGA because they thought, oh, he said drain the swamp, cool.
The bones with the drain the swamp thing. And what it is that the people behind the MAGA regime, they wanted to do this. Project 2025 wanted to get out on all non-loyalists. They were branded as the swamp. They're scapegoated. Government workers
Like Chatter
who
said,
are not working
different
for the
swamp.
government to make millions of dollars to be rich. They're looking for job security,
I'm gonna
health
drain this
insurance,
swamp.
hopefully a couple of weeks
This
paid
swamp.
vacation. And these were Americans first and not party loyalists. But part of the Trump con was to say that these people that had federal government jobs were the swamp.
Right.
And they weren't. They were your neighbor. They're your family members. They're your children's classmates' parents. And now he actually has the swamp in. So it was a long.
I was actually talking about the swamp of 20,000 migrants. That's the swamp I was talking about draining. These guys are so dumb. Yeah, exactly. Easy. GG, well played. Right.
Manipulative game. And I guess, the Sean Ryans are going to come to terms with this later. Nick Fuentes, he's a performer and he knows Trump's an idiot. I don't know if Sean Ryan will admit, if you hooked him up to Truth Serum and a polygraph, yeah, I knew he was an idiot in 2016. I don't know. To me, it's obvious he's always been an idiot. But here is Andrew Schultz.
Nick Fuentes uses, like I said, he's a grifter. He'll use anything to get to his goal, whatever, and that is fucking Nazism and racism. Is what he says. He wants a racist to be president. He straight up said it.
And he was the guy in Flagrant Flagrant podcast where Trump went on and he was like, I do the weave. And they were all like, ha, 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 we endorse Trump. He's hilarious. And here he is with Charlemagne the God. And they're talking about all this Epstein stuff. Play the clip.
Charlemagne?
Obviously, as we just stated, we're looking at it and it's like clear there's something that Trump does not want to get out. Now, some people are like, he's protecting his friends, which is if you're protecting your friends that fuck little girls, fuck you. If he's protecting himself from doing heinous shit in the past, fuck you, right? Obviously, this is any human being. Look,
it doesn't even matter, Andrew. Fuck you anyway. You've had plenty of time to understand this is bullshit.
At that and they go, that's reasonable.
So, I mean, the thing about Trump, for me, is before
Andrew
you
Schultz
even get to the
right
Epstein
again.
files,
Griff
there
left.
is plenty of debris.
Whatever.
Right. There is a debris field.
Like I said, chat, why can't you just stand on solid ground? Why can't you just stand on what you, and the reason you can't is because what they're grifting is not actually fucking reality, because it's not truth based. That's why I can sit here and yap from a leftist perspective, and you can come back in a couple years and you'll probably hear me yapping about the same bullshit, which is kind of funny. Because I feel like I've been saying the same stuff ever since I've been on Twitch with 2 viewers and now however many I have today. Like,
of damage as it pertains to women, particularly underage women. If you listen to his interviews with Howard Stern, if you listen,
and that could be a problem. I don't think we should. I think there's a point where we should say no, it's not okay. Germany doesn't let you be a racist. And that's why they can make a lot of tea out of that around here. They put someone in jail for saying something on the internet that was, racist, that was free speech. They don't say racist, they say free speech. And then X is like, well, I can't have my my X in .com in Germany because they want to put people in jail for saying things that are, free speech. It's like, if a whole country is outlawed being racist, maybe they did it for a fucking reason. Right? Like,
so the way he speaks about his own daughter and sexualizes her, the grab him by the pussy. So all Epstein is for me is further confirmation as to just how diabolical his sexual deviancy is.
You start talking some Nazi shit in Germany, you have to be very careful. These days it's worse than it was, like with the AFD and shit, and like I said, it's legal now, quote unquote.
But I am not shocked by the Epstein thing because I've been paying attention since 2016 that this man is a sexual predator. And I guess for some people, I guess it takes thousands of women and girls
2000
for certain men to believe it. And that's a real
I've been clocking Trump since
that it's not until the Epstein files that they think, oh, this guy's a sexual predator.
Bro, the first time the first time he said he was going to become president, I knew he was going to actually run for president someday.
Evidence of his predation has been out there
was in like 96
for a really, really, really long time.
No, none of it's new. I mean, he was in the Epstein files in Ghislaine
Completely
Maxwell's
legal to
criminal
be
trials.
racist.
But here's what I think about all of the
I can't refer to anyone as the C word. I can eat a cracker, though, on Twitch. But Asmongold can say things like, everyone who's a Muslim deserves to die and not get banned. But if I say anything about my own self and call myself the C word and eat a cracker, then I get banned on Twitch.
this, like, I agree with you 150%, but when you look at Project 2025 and the pastors that are preaching about women, you see that women are disposable. Women
I
are
can't
meant
say
to
the
be seen
C
and
word
not
on
heard.
Twitch.
Now they're
I'll get
talking
banned.
about changing where voting will be harder for married women who've changed
I will
their
hire the
name.
best people.
This administration is misogyny first, as is the evangelical Christian base that they're based on. That all of these people, they all float in the same boat. And one thing he said was, I mean, everybody knows, fuck the pedophile protector, fuck you if you're a pedophile. People are still defending him. The MAGA cultists, the all-inners, you will hear them say, I don't really care. It happened so long ago. There are people that will support Trump versus protecting children, that are happy to support a man that looks to be a pedophile and at least is a sexual deviant, and protecting pedophiles. So I think when he says, yeah, everybody knows that, I would have thought everybody knows that. I would have thought it was everybody could agree 100% children should not be sexually abused by adult men. But 100% children should not be sexually abused by adult men. 100% children should not be sexually abused by adult men.
Yeah. Any man should be able to say that quickly, without hesitation. Hello? Are you fucking kidding me? JG Vance at 24 now, Newsom 17, Rubio to 8. Rubio's going to climb. I'll bet you, yeah. I'm not watching the poly market, but let me know.
Making excuses for him.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't want to.
The MAGA cultists.
I don't need another place to spend money.
Have used these culture war issues.
I think I know too much, and I will get lost. I lose the little tiny bit of money I have that I don't have. Yeah. On this kind of shit.
Abortion, then they moved on to gay rights, and then moved on to drag queens, then moved on to trans people.
I'd be better at this than I was at
QAnon.
Bitcoin.
And now,
I lost everything.
they're all, none of them are speaking out, because I think
I had $700 in Bitcoin stolen from my account from Coinbase and never got it back and got charged for it because someone removed it from my account on Coinbase. The safest way to hold money is Bitcoin. My ass.
what it boils down to is they would rather uphold patriarchal structures. And that's what Trump represents. I think that one of the reasons that so many white people believe the lie and the propaganda that
46 million volume on Kamala Harris for yes? What is happening? Why'd you show me this? Okay, yeah. No, that's good. I don't know if I could resist. I'm kidding. I'm probably going to get into it because this will help me understand things because this really does help you understand how people think a little bit. It is kind of cool.
Republicans are so good with business, despite them tanking every economy, despite job numbers nosediving under every Republican president, despite them increasing the federal deficit.
I don't like U.S. strikes Iran by what? February 18th. Yeah. Marco Rubio's at 15%. Yeah. He's going to climb.
They believe that only white men can do business. Right. And the Republican Party, by and large,
it gives you I think it will give you a better idea than actually the polls.
And so what really is at issue here for me is...
I don't know how anyone on the left or right can really count on the polls anymore. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm not really understanding why the polls have gotten so bad.
That this
and no one's giving me a good reason.
This last power grab of
the polling
patriarchy
specifically for politics,
and
like
this desire, and I don't
it
know
has
if you
to be
read this
rigged. That's what I'm
article, you
saying.
guys. Project 2025 was written by the Heritage Foundation. The Heritage Foundation is now, because they consider everything that's happening right now a huge victory. These are big Christian, right-wing,
Yes.
Republican think tank. They now have set
which
their
one
sights on
isn't?
women. And they want to make it very difficult to get a divorce. They want to transfer wealth from a woman's name to the husband's name. All sorts of just no women in higher education. They want to keep you dumb, submissive, and not
they
get
want-
pregnant.
and not get-
and
and
for
not be able to
those
vote
people in the MAGA world that flirt with republicanism because
Yeah, women are too emotional to vote or something like that is going to be their argument.
of their pocketbook. And he's just so good at business, and I'm a fiscal conservative.
These women,
I think a lot of you have
they're too
daughters
emotional.
in your lives, and your goal.
Look at
when
this
your children
Jen
are
girl.
born-
She's on YouTube. Always got the Trump derangement syndrome. That's right. It's terrible. We can't have these people voting. I am the fortune teller for what Trump will say next. Put that on Polymarket, bitch.
as a college fund if you can afford it, or maybe some career they can have, some vo-tech school. But it's that your daughter has her own autonomy and her own agency and her own escape plan should the marriage go awry. And
we don't need to describe going back to 1954 when women had no right to vote. Or are we kidding me? Like, no, I'm good. No, this ain't gonna happen. None women are gonna allow this to happen right now. I'll tell you that. None women. The women that allow this to happen aren't women. They're fucking losers.
MAGA and these Republicans and these really far right religious think tanks are
Yeah, women that are MAGA need to transition to MAGA, if you know what I mean. Whatever that looks like.
trying to eviscerate
Instead of worrying about people transitioning to females and males in sports, they need to transition to MAGA and not be women anymore. Because they're betraying like the whole women's movement, for fuck's sake. Get the fuck out of here.
all of the work that women have done. And what's so diabolical about it is they use women on the front lines to do this. And
Holy
these
shit.
women
Dude, I love Jen. Okay, so I want to meet her, dude. I swear.
in the Trump regime, these women that are on Fox News, these women that
Don't
go on
deserve this.
CNN, that have ridden the coattails and are standing on the shoulders of so many fearless women that fought so
That's what I'm
hard
talking about.
for civil liberties.
I know some of these women.
And
Don't
they're
fuck with me.
there
You know what I mean?
assisting all of these men
Like-
that would allow you to get raped and then not be able to report it, and then have to have your rapist baby, not have your own bank account.
We're
And they're
supposed to go
serious
along with
about
this?
it. I mean, these people
I
are
don't think
really
so.
depraved sickos. All right, that's really uplifting episode. Like,
Yeah.
subscribe. We'll be back later with more news.
No, that was fine. The thing about that podcast is they're not afraid to talk about the shit that really matters and actually say what matters. And I appreciate that because I'm the same way. I literally will say that I'm literally trying to say what she says before she says it on purpose because I'm testing myself constantly. But yeah, Polymarket chatter. That's awesome. Damn, where the hell? And I hate to show you this, but the next one is going to be talking about chatters. Because if you're a chatter and you're watching me and, you're of course part of Antifa and you're out in the streets, violently protesting like all Antifers are, of course. Not. But you're actually peacefully protesting. Well, they're coming for us.
Hi, it's Monday, February 16th,
Yeah.
2026. You're tuned into Why America. I'm your lawyer friend, Legia Miller in Minneapolis. Border Czar and Elmer Fudd lookalike contest winner Tom Homan has announced ICE agents are leaving our fair city of Minneapolis.
That's right, folks. This is a W, but it comes with a couple of L's followed, by a couple more L's. So we're going to check in with our resident Minnesotan here, the legal expert that I often go to as a podcast or whatever, because she's smart and knows what she's talking about from a perspective of a Antifa. That's right. That's right, folks. If you want to be part of Antifa, you got to watch this show, because Reagan ruined everything. Don't forget.
And only a skeleton crew will remain. And it's been sunny and 50 degrees here
Thumbs
for the
up,
last
bitch.
few days. Truly the picture of hope and optimism after a very dark winter.
Yeah,
we
this
are all,
shit
of course,
melted, but
still
it's
on
coming
edge,
back.
and we will believe it when we see it. Many of our neighbors are still living in fear, and we're under no illusion that ICE will completely vacate our streets.
No, it's
But
just...
just because the surge has supposedly ended, this is Trump we're talking about. He's not going to go silently into the night, you know? And
Nope.
over the past few months, the administration has made it very clear that they intend to bend the law.
No, I know. So that's it's a joke. I'm talking about a ghost. That's why it's hilarious why I said when you jumped in, did you hear that? Did you hear Kash Patel found the funder of Antifa? It's like, there's what? George Soros? Like what? Like, I wish there was an organization. I wish the leftists were organized. I wish we had anti-fascists that were actually organized. We'd probably be in jail.
To prosecute as many domestic terrorists as possible. Tomorrow, down
But
in
this is
Texas,
what-
a trial begins in which, for the first
This
time,
is
the
what I'm
Trump
worried
regime
about
is
right
going
here.
to have to provide us with an actual legal definition of Antifa, something they've struggled to do so far. It's also worth closely watching because it's likely an early example of what is about to become really, really common under this regime.
Yep.
The full weight of the federal apparatus coming down against people who hold beliefs contrary to the Trump regime's ideology. We've, of course, already seen this happening over the last year, but I anticipate it's going to ramp up. Numerous protesters here in
Yeah, those were the
Minneapolis reported
tests.
being taunted by ICE officers who said their faces would be added to a database of protesters. That,
Yeah.
combined with the federal government's sweeping attempt to gather as much information about all of us into one centralized database as possible, means that not only will it be easier to identify people to prosecute for all manner of trumped-up domestic terrorism charges, but also that it will be easier to punish those who speak out against the Trump
Oh, you
regime
paid your water
in
bill? God damn it.
extrajudicial ways that don't require charges or laws or courtrooms. At least one protester reported having her TSA pre-check clearance revoked
Capitalists
after
got
being
you over
recorded
there.
by an ICE body cam. An academic scholar who studies
The capitalists got you over there fucking, bent you over and I'm spanking you. Sorry. I know I feel it every day here. Gas prices just went up.
Antifa reported having his plane tickets canceled mysteriously as he was attempting to board a plane to flee this country with his wife and young children. When the entire federal government is weaponized against a group of people for their beliefs, that can result in revoked federal assistance benefits, difficulty accessing bank accounts, difficulty entering or leaving the country despite being born here,
Yep.
and so much more. And so even though ICE
That's
may
what they
not
want.
be roving the streets of Minneapolis, they certainly gathered troves of data about the wine moms blowing whistles in their Honda Civics that I am predicting will result in varying forms of punishment and intimidation to make an example once again out of Minneapolis.
She's right.
Today we're unpacking what that Antifa trial in Texas and other Trump tactics, orders, and memos tell us about what's to come for all of us. And if you watch all my videos but you're somehow not subscribed yet, could you please just hit that little subscribe button? It helps support this channel and is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much.
yeah.
This headline from Inc.com about this story helped inform my reporting. Big Tech confirms DHS subpoenas. Meta and
I mean, it doesn't matter. It's all relative. That's kind of my point. But I get you. Yeah, it's like you're always getting hit somewhere because it's unfair. That's what I'm talking about every day, how unfair this fucking capitalist system we live under is.
Google users targeted over anti-ICE posts. Using the Ground News browser extension, I can get helpful background information on this publication in one quick glance.
Yeah, but you don't
To get
pay
the
your
big
water bill
picture, I
for
can
3
click on
months and
full
then you
coverage,
fucking
which will show me coverage of the same
get the
story from
fees or
publications
whatever
across the
in some
political
jurisdictions,
spectrum.
and then
My partner on
before you know it,
today's
you got a
video,
$1,000
Ground
water
News, is
bill.
an
It's
app
not
and
hard,
website
and
that
then they
offers
shut your water
tools to
off.
help you critically analyze the news you read.
None of
providing
that should
context
happen.
To understand the full picture. You can follow along at
The water department could be easily owned by the city, which could be paid for by the taxes from a couple of the billionaires that live in your city. That's it.
ground.news/Legia. For every major news headline and headlines you may have missed, Ground News provides you with information and context, like who owns the publication and how factual it is, to help you determine for yourself what is trustworthy and how to interpret the news. I feel like Ground.News ICE facility graffiti bring these topics, and I have.
And if that billionaire tells you they're going to leave the city, tell them to leave. Fuck off. Yeah, no. Exactly. Yeah. No. Get rid of that shit. The left needs to start at the local government. If you're in San Jose and you're really pissed at the fucking water department, run for fucking state whatever and take over the water department.
Linked his work in the sources, which are
Come
linked
on.
in the description per usual. The charges stem from a July 4th
Oh, it
incident
does.
at the Prairie Land, Texas ice facility.
In fact, they're finding out that monopolies work better than competition. But they pander to the idea of competition because then they have other companies to buy. You understand? What you're saying is true. But we don't really have capitalism anymore. It's really not. It's really more like late stage capitalism like they used to talk about.
Protesters arrived dressed all in black at the facility
Which is
on
kind
the
of
4th
something
of July
that's
to stage
not
what they called a noise
happened
demonstration.
before, right.
They allegedly fired off fireworks, graffitied cars, and damaged a security camera.
Oh,
When
no.
a local officer showed up to the scene, one protester allegedly shot the officer in the neck with a rifle. The officer survived, but the shooting immediately escalated the case. Initially, the FBI conducted a raid on the home of suspected organizers, and the search warrant for that raid indicated that they were being investigated for assault of a federal agent, damage to government property, and discharging a firearm during a crime of violence. By the end of July...
Now, my strong belief is that anything that is a necessity to stay alive should not be under the umbrella of capitalism and be taxed and be encouraged to make money. It does not need to make money. It's simply funded and not minimally, so that it's taken care of and the water's good. That's my thing, especially for a city like San Jose. Come on.
Federal prosecutors had charged several people with attempted murder of a federal officer and discharging a firearm during a crime of violence. All of those are regular criminal code style charges. Again, this was last July.
Yeah.
Then Charlie Kirk was murdered, and the federal government used that as an inciting incident in order to ramp up its rhetoric against progressive ideology or anything that they claim falls under the blanket Antifa designation. Charlie Kirk was shot.
Yeah, because mainly capitalism is about consumption rather than competition between two companies making better parts. It's kind of like the neoliberal lie that people have told you. It kind of did work in the early times, but oftentimes now there's no incentive for one company to do something new. Right? I don't know. I feel like that's kind of the secondary or thirdary thing that they think about, but they often talk about it and make it the first thing that you're supposed to talk about when it really isn't.
On September 10th. By September 25th, Trump had issued two important orders
Oh,
relevant
yeah.
to what
California
we're
should
discussing
definitely
today.
buy PG&E.
One designating
Are you kidding
Antifa
me?
as a domestic terror.
Listen, we are the 7th largest economy. And we have a public utility that is not serving our best interests, which is our economy continuing to go. And every day there could be an argument said, every day that the power is out for a company, they lose X amount of dollars. That is a loss that is caused by PG&E, which PG&E should have to pay for, okay, under the circumstances they're in right now. If they were run by the state, they wouldn't be mismanaged. There would be law. The law should say they can't be mismanaged, and then they have to underground everything, which is what they should do, and spend the money and figure out how to get it from the billionaires. Like I said, yeah, no. Since we're the 7th largest economy in the world, we have one of the worst grids in the world.
Terrorist organization, even though legal experts confirm there is no legal
That's nothing.
statute or
40
legal
billion is
definition of a
nothing.
domestic terrorist organization. Like,
fucking
that's not really a
tiny.
thing. And the second order is titled Countering Domestic Terrorism and Organized Political Violence.
The state
also
could
known
buy
as
it for
National
50
Security
billion.
Presidential Memorandum 7,
Yeah.
or NSPM
From billionaires.
7 for short.
Yeah.
Both orders
From
laid
tech
the groundwork
billionaires.
for what we're seeing play out today and what we're likely to see a lot
The tech billionaires made the money already. Like, they used the electricity. Hello? Like, yeah, let's make them pay for it. That's good.
more of going forward. The way
Yeah.
the Trump regime characterizes Antifa in the order designating it as a domestic terror organization is completely detailed.
In fact, if I was Gavin Newsom, I would say that PG&E existing as a independent company under capitalism in California is a state security threat for the continued operation of California as a capitalist state to make money. because their wires are literally a standing disaster zone, and there's no way they can replace all of them in time.
Detached from reality. Actual scholars of Antifa
Exactly.
movement
Hedge funds,
will tell you
pension
there is no
funds.
central organization.
40
There's
billion
no
is an
leadership.
easy
There's no one
raise.
organization that calls itself Antifa. Antifa is short for
And anyway, we would get away with spending maybe 30 billion on them and liquidating them. You know what I mean? Because the state could take them over.
anti-fascist, which, like, yeah, same. Most of us are probably anti-fascist if we were to be asked, hey, are you pro or anti-fascism? Antifa is, if anything, an ideology ascribed to by various decentralized groups of activists. And the fact of it being an ideology is deeply important, which we will come back to.
Correct.
As the Trump regime would have you believe it, though, Antifa is a highly organized enterprise intent on overthrowing the government through recruiting, training, and radicalizing young Americans to engage in violence against the state. The order then demands that all relevant executive departments and agencies shall utilize all applicable authorities to investigate, disrupt, and dismantle.
None Antifa person thinks this. Like, if we were doing all this shit, like, quote unquote, as Antifa, I wouldn't be saying, like, what?
Any and all illegal operations,
Stuff I
especially
can't
those
say on
involving
Twitch, sorry.
terrorist actions conducted by Antifa. 3 days later, NSPM 7 drops on September 25th. This one is more substantial. It directs Trump's entire group of national security and intelligence goons to, quote, investigate, prosecute, and disrupt entities and individuals engaged in acts of political violence and intimidation designed to suppress lawful political activity or obstruct the rule of law. This includes individuals and institutional funders and employees of organizations that aid and abet the people engaging in said criminal conduct, as well as non-governmental organizations and American citizens residing abroad that help to fund and support entities that engage in or support domestic terrorism. It directs the Attorney General Pam Bondi to, quote, issue specific guidance that ensures domestic terrorism priorities include politically motivated terrorist acts such as organized doxing campaigns, swatting, rioting, looting,
It is very complex.
trespass,
No, I'm not the first
assault,
person to yap about this
destruction of
bullshit.
property, threats of violence, and civil disorder. Many of those activities on the list are not on the list of domestic terrorist crimes. Trespassing is usually a misdemeanor. Civil disorder can be weaponized against any form of First Amendment protected protest. It is taking the definition of domestic terrorism and stretching it to include the types of things that the right typically accuses leftist protesters of engaging in. Trespass, destruction of property, despite the fact that, according to the Brennan Center, quote, under current law, a charge of material support in the domestic context requires that the person being charged have provided support for one of the specifically defined federal crimes of terrorism. By contrast, Trump's order directs federal authorities to investigate the provision of material support to any and all illegal operations. This threatens to criminalize a wide range of activity, end quote, including participating in protests or providing donations or services to organizations whose ideology the regime may define as Antifa. If you go to a protest and hand out water bottles, that could be material support for terrorism under this sweeping order. NSPM 7 also tells the IRS commissioner to, quote, take action to ensure that no tax-exempt entities are directly or indirectly financing political violence or domestic terrorism. Again,
even
under
if
this
this has no
definition, that would
teeth,
be
it's
any
still gonna be
nonprofit
like-
that is assisting to organize any direct actions or protests or
Have a chilling
resistance
effect
efforts, because Trump could slap
on
a civil
protesting.
disorder label on it and call it domestic terrorism. But perhaps the most damning part of NSPM 7 doesn't require you to read beyond the intro paragraphs, because they're not even trying to hide that this entire directive is based around prosecuting activities of people because they ascribe to a specific ideology. Section 1 states, quote, common threads animating this violent conduct include anti-Americanism, anti-capitalism, and anti-Christianity, support for the overthrow of the United
That support for the overthrow of the United States government is not Antifa. That would be like an anarchist thing. They're talking about anarchists there. Extremism on migration, race, and gender. What does that mean? Holy shit.
United States government, extremism on migration, race, and gender, and
What?
hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on family, religion, and morality.
No, I agree with that sentiment, Gadaranja. You're educated. You don't have to be educated to make that conclusion, though. That does make sense. We used to be more aggressive as Americans about monopolies. I don't know if you remember probably back in even before I was born, it was like there was this oil thing where they had to split up a bunch of oil companies.
The clear outcome of this
And the
is
government
that the
literally
regime
went in and just said, no, you can't exist as one oil company. It's too fucking much.
is going to prosecute and slap a domestic terrorist label on people
Nah.
based solely on their ideology.
None of the effects that it would have are going to be bad as where PG-80 is right now. Like what I'm saying, I feel like it's a national emergency or a state national emergency or whatever they call that in the state.
Someone trespassing and damaging property who's a member of a group that upholds traditional American family values, whatever the fuck that means, might get a misdemeanor trespass charge, but someone who committed the same crimes
Yeah, the effects might be a more stable grid and less
ideals,
and
something
cheaper
that is
prices.
very much protected under the First Amendment, would be called a domestic terrorist for it. And listen,
And a high ceiling for even having to pay, say and encouraging more solar to go in, which has been stifled now. Simply because 30%'s gone, which is not a lot. I mean, it's a lot for people to understand, but California could also encourage that, which then would offset the grid, and the more solar that was installed, they could show, oh, hey, look, the prices are going to go down because there's more solar. We're not going to take advantage of that. We have no incentive to make money. You see what I'm saying? PG&E fiscally every year has to make more money by law.
let's be crystal fucking clear about this. The U.S. government has historically always been highly suspect of the activities of individuals who espouse leftist or progressive ideology. The FBI, the CIA, they have been actively involved in various operations to surveil and intimidate leftist activists.
You would have to have active, not surveilling, but like auditing of the company too, to make sure they were being not corrupt. Of course, you would have to doge the motherfuckers in a good way, but
since at least the Red Scare.
You can do that in a good way.
MLK Jr. was actively being surveilled at the time of his assassination and for a long time prior to it. The government's supposed to audit. After 9/11 and the passage of the Patriot Act, which gave us our first official definition of domestic terrorism,
I think that's what they
that
call
federal surveillance only ramped up. Per the Brennan Center for Justice, the legal definition of domestic terrorism is, quote, acts that are dangerous to human life, violate a state or...
Most of the time when people talk to you about government corruption, they're really just being disingenuous. The government corruption that does happen is more at the military level and the weapons level rather than the funds going to poor people level. You know what I mean? Like there's a thin line there, but in my opinion, you're going to find most of the corruption up there when it comes to dealing with arms and, the prices of toilets. Right? That kind of fucking shit. And they don't audit themselves, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
or federal law occur primarily
That's what
within
I
the
want
United
to see
States
cleaned up.
and
Because
appear
that's our
to be
money.
intended to intimidate or
That's what I want clean. That's our money. Take aside the fact I don't agree with they should spend any money on the military at all, except to, enough just to keep our borders safe. Well, that's my opinion, but I'm not going to pretend like they're going to just abolish the military, but at the same time, then I'm going to be like, well, I don't want them spending $700 on, $9,000 on a toilet that goes to Baghdad and gets dropped on a drop ship and breaks. I don't want that either.
coerce a civilian population or influence the policy of a government by intimidation or coercion. Domestic terrorism itself is not a standalone crime. Instead, the statute sets out over 50 other federal crimes of terrorism, such as bombing a building.
I don't think there's going to be any comparison ever between any kind of government fraud versus the kind of fraud that goes on in a corporation like fucking PG&E. There's just no way to even quantify. My opinion that the amount of fucking things they have to do to, like I said, just to make sure they make money every year for their stock.
And destroying infrastructure. However, as the definition makes clear, any federal or state crime can
just
be
takes
used
away so
as
many
the basis
incentives,
for a
you know what I
domestic
mean?
terrorism investigation if it is dangerous
I'm
to
not
human
even thinking
life
about some
and
of them,
has the
probably.
required intent. And thanks to that increased investigative authority under the guise of the war on terror after 9/11,
I'm just
the
a dude,
FBI was
though.
able to ramp up its
The dude
surveillance,
abides.
which it especially used against anti-war and pro-environmental advocacy groups in the early 2000s, and in more recent years against black Black Lives Matter organizers, while failing to investigate white supremacist violence as domestic terrorism. However, even with all the surveillance and paranoia against leftist activism on the part of the federal government, even when those surveilled groups committed criminal acts, even related to civil disobedience, they were rarely ever prosecuted for those acts under the domestic terrorism statute. That statute was reserved for the worst actors until now. So Trump didn't invent the idea of overly surveilling leftist activists while right-wing terrorists go uninvestigated, but he's sure saying the quiet parts out loud now and pushing his administration to stretch the domestic terrorism statute beyond how it's ever been used. This is part of a theme that we've been seeing over and over again in this regime. Anything that was an unwritten rule or based on a good faith exercise of the status quo, it's out the window now. So the fact that we have almost a century of overly permissive surveillance guidelines for the FBI and CIA, especially related to leftist organizers, but a collective
This is a Stephen Miller thing, guys, or his ilk, okay?
Understanding on the part of the DOJ that you don't abuse that domestic terrorism statute except for the worst, most obvious cases.
That's the way it's been, but back when they actually made that a thing, we were all saying it's not a good idea.
That all means nothing in the face of a weaponized DOJ intent on punishing anyone who doesn't fall in line.
Who will figure it out is going to be a good leftist person like AOC that actually goes in and talks about the same shit I'm talking about. But we're a long ways from that. I think we need a local leader. We need a good governor in California that's a leftist. I think that's an important thing. Especially because, you know, the MAGA rightists always are talking about how California is the Antifa capital. We got to invade California. It's full of Antifa.
The law.
Yeah, go to Orange County. Tell me how full of Antifa Orange County is.
But in many cases, the groundwork was laid long before Trump took office. So those orders from Trump came down at the end of
American
September,
flags
days
and the
after
trucks.
the murder of Charlie Kirk.
Tell me
By
those
October,
are
the charges
Antifa.
related to the July 4th Prairie Land incident in Texas, at first bare-bones traditional criminal charges, were changed. Prosecutors began describing the action as the work of an Antifa cell and characterizing the demonstration as an ambush.
You're right.
Charges
They
were
would
increased to
actually have
include
a
providing
problem
material
invading
support for
California.
terrorism, as
I
well
think
as riot.
That's why I say it's like, you know, they always go for like the Roydites always go for the like unachievable, right? Like they take California.
And use of
I think even the Orange County bros would be like, no, we're MAGA, but fuck off. This is California, bitch. I think even those guys would be like, yeah, I'm keeping my truck. Stay the fuck out of here, Texas.
Explosive. 15 people were ultimately charged with material support for terrorism. 7 have pleaded guilty. Central to the government's case appears to be 2 different Signal chat groups, the same Signal chat service that organizers here in Minneapolis have been using for weeks to track ICE activity. The most damning piece of evidence that they've been able to find is against the man they're accusing of being the ringleader, the one that they're accusing of firing the shot that injured the police officer. In one Signal exchange with a group of 5 other organizers, the man, Ben Song, was discussing bringing guns to the protest, something that is legal in the great state of Texas. And at one point he sent a message saying, quote, "Cops are not trained or equipped for more than one rifle, so it tends to make them back off." That's it. That's the tweet. And based on that, they're calling him a violent Antifa cult leader.
Bring a gun.
At least 3 of the people charged were not even in that smaller Signal group chat. Instead, they were part of a larger group chat, and they helped distribute what the federal government described as insurrectionary materials called zines.
Note to self.
Zines with such
Don't
terrifying
say bring
titles
the
as
gun on a
Revolutionary
text.
Meditation, What Does Freedom Look Like? Factories don't burn down by themselves, and Satanic Death Cult is real. Rachel Moran, professor at the University of St. Thomas Law School.
Signal is basically, you can download it and it turns your texting, as long as the other person has Signal as well, into a encrypted text. Yeah, but encrypted. Encrypted texts. That's all you got to think. I mean, mainly being used by people on Android because, you know, people already have encrypted texts on on Apple, but, you know, texts to Androids are always green, remember? There's a reason for that.
Quote, if you are going to be charged for
That's why people started using
to someone else's illegal
Signal.
actions, you need to mean to
Because you
support
could also get
them
it on
in those
Apple.
actions, not just
And then you're
abstractly
encrypted.
support their belief system. Handing out allegedly anarchist zines, even ones that advocate for satanic death cults, is protected
there's groups,
under the
I think,
First
too.
Amendment. In fact, handing out pamphlets with whatever random idea you have is
Text
as American as it gets. Like,
So you
hi,
can use
Thomas
it to,
Paine,
like,
ever heard of
organize.
him?
It's
The fact
very
that
useful.
after the Texas incident, the
Supposedly.
authorities seized the printing press of the anarchist zine printer tells you all you need to
But
know
it's
about
full
the
of
types
feds,
of
too.
First Amendment suppressions happening
So.
here. These defendants are being charged, some of them, for the sole crime of being a leftist. And the ones who allegedly committed actual acts of violence or vandalism, their charges increased dramatically
it's
to
been
include
infiltrated
domestic
by the
terrorism
FBI and
because
CIA for
of
sure.
their ideology. And getting charged with domestic terrorism is a big fucking deal. It can lead to
Not
far
necessarily
harsher
decrypted, but
and
they're just
longer
in there,
sentences,
in
and being
groups.
slapped with a terrorist label for the rest of your life is even worse than having a felony charge on your record. Your ability to do anything, get a job, get an apartment, get a loan, travel anywhere in the entire world.
Look, it's simple. It's like FBI agents and CIA, certain ones of them are trained on, like, you know, talking. They can talk to people and convince them to put them in a chat group. And that's all they got to do. As long as they're in the chat group, or the Signal chat group, quote unquote, then they can read other people's stuff and where they're going, and then they're just in undercover, see? And all they've really done is convince one person from that chat group to let them in.
Is severely
Usually that's how easy
limited.
it is.
It is a lifelong punishment, even if they don't lock you up for the rest of your life or give you the death penalty. But federal prosecutors in the Texas case are having a hell of a time coming up with a definition of Antifa that doesn't make it crystal fucking clear that the trumped-up charges are completely
Correct.
based on the ideology of the protesters.
Because it doesn't
Quote,
exist.
At a
It's a
hearing in the
ghost.
case last year, a federal prosecutor suggested that Antifa is primarily concerned with opposing the Trump administration. The federal prosecutor asked a testifying FBI agent if Antifa is really kind of an anti-President Trump and anti-ICE movement. Is that right? Yes, the agent replied. We've seen that rhetoric and terminology in many of their demonstrations. At a recent probable cause hearing, an FBI agent, quote, described Antifa as loosely organized, a decentralized anarchist mindset, and an ideology. Quote, it's an ideology that these people believe in, and those who self-identify as it practice this in a lot of aspects of their life, he said. That, in turn, raises deeply troubling questions. It suggests that FBI agents in the case may be regarding adherence to what they imagine as Antifa as itself worthy of investigation,
Yeah.
conflating belief or association
Yeah.
with criminal conduct. Add on top of that, the
Not
conflation
okay.
with criminal conduct and domestic terrorism based on the accused perpetrator's alleged ideological beliefs, and it's hard to see where the Trump regime's persecution of leftist activists, protesters, news commentators, lawyers, and more would ever end. And the regime's activities in recent weeks indicates that they may be ramping up efforts to collect information against protesters and activists to be used against all of us, either in criminal prosecutions or in less obvious intimidation and other efforts to suppress our rights. Tom Homan has said he wants to create a database of information on protesters. All members of Congress seem pretty comfortable with the idea of increasing ICE funding so that they can have more money for body cameras that'll collect more protester data. I made a whole episode about how body cams won't save us. You can watch that after this. AI data company Palantir has signed numerous
Yeah,
government
she's on this
contracts
shit, though.
and is reportedly working to create a large searchable
Palantir.
database across agencies, creating the infrastructure.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say. Someone was saying that Doge wasn't successful on Fox News. I can't remember who it was, but I say it was. And I said it when we were watching it happen. They wanted the data, and they took the data and they gave it to Palantir. Guys. Doge gave our data to Palantir. Not a joke. Come on. I'm not the first one to say this, so I'm not just saying this.
Needed to track us and to punish us for our movements. Your face appearing on an ICE officer's body cam could then be compiled with your tax
Correct.
information, your demographic,
Correct. And this is another route that
tax, info on your voting record, your travel, your jobs, info on your federal and state benefits, all the info that has traditionally been spread out across the federal government, very much on purpose because it's a huge fucking security risk. If all of that info is neatly compiled in one place, all of that could be weaponized. And reports indicate that the federal government might already be doing this in more isolated incidents, including a protester here in Minnesota who claims she lost her TSA pre-check and global entry privileges after a confrontation with a Border Patrol officer who claimed he had identified her using facial recognition technology and was recording her with his body camera. She was following the officer in public as part of her work monitoring her neighborhood for ICE activity, which for the record is not a crime. She was not charged with anything. She was not arrested. She just got a letter a few days later saying her TSA pre-check and global entry had been revoked.
And
this week, the New York Times reported that the Department of Homeland Security has sent out hundreds.
Yeah, so it's a red herring when you hear libertarian Democrats on the floor saying, we need ICE to have more body cams. Sure.
Of subpoenas in recent months
Shut the
to
fuck
Google, Reddit, Discord, Facebook, and Instagram, requesting identifying information connected to accounts that posted anti-ICE content, criticized ICE, or pointed to the locations of ICE agents. These are administrative subpoenas, so they're not signed by a judge. They're issued by the Trump-aligned DHS, and tech companies get to choose whether or not they comply.
It's getting scarier and scarier to be
many
me
of the
out there.
companies
I'm
claimed
just telling
that
you
they
that
give users.
I'm not going to lie right now. Dude. They're trying to make me eat legal. It sounds like to me.
A 10 to 14 day window.
I don't like the sounds
so
of
they
this.
say, hey, we've gotten this request from DHS. If we don't hear from you in 10 days with a copy of the lawsuit you filed against DHS for this subpoena, we're going to give them your information. The regime claims they're just doing this to protect their ICE agents from
Guess I won't be going to China anytime soon, boys.
harm. But this is 100% a coercion and intimidation tactic to quietly let posters know that they are being watched. Of course, it's going to be fucking terrifying if Facebook is like, hey, DHS is asking for all your info and we're going to give it to them unless you as an individual sue the federal government in court within 10 days. And of course, when individuals do actually sue the federal government to block them from enforcing these subpoenas, they immediately withdraw the subpoenas before a judge can issue a ruling. Because a ruling from a judge saying, hey, this is illegal, you have no reason to need access to this info or suspect this person of a crime, then that creates precedent that makes it easier to sue DHS for all of its future subpoenas, or could lead to a judicial order barring these types of subpoenas
this
altogether.
One
so
clever trick,
DHS flies under the radar by rescinding any subpoena requests the second that there's a lawsuit.
Holy shit,
but it still gets the point across. Not only are we going to prosecute people more harshly depending on their ideology, we're also going to target you and watch you and punish you for your social media posts. And they're doing this to immigrants, of course, all of this, but these latest tactics indicate that they're doing it to everyone, regardless of immigration status. And we knew that they would do this. We've been saying it since Project 2025 dropped. This doesn't stop with immigrants. When one group is denied.
She says we too. I love it. Thank you. We have been saying this. Yes. For years.
Due process rights, that can spread to all of us. When one group's First Amendment rights are restricted, that can spread to all of us. And
that is the idea. That's why they start there. Oh my God. The quote unquote, not my words, weakest, right?
Exactly what we're seeing now. Okay, so what can we do? The one thing about all of this is that we are a big fucking country. There aren't enough federal bureaucrats around to subpoena and prosecute all of us. The movement on the ground just in Minneapolis alone involved literally tens of thousands of people, including thousands in various decentralized, highly protected civil
Everyone
chats
needs to
across
go
the
out
city.
when they can.
They truly cannot prosecute
Shit's going
everyone
down.
involved.
Get
It's
out there,
impossible.
film it.
If you do get a subpoena
Try to
warning
stay
from
away
a social
from
media
federal
company
authorities
and
and not get
challenge that
arrested.
subpoena in court, it will likely go away very quickly. Reach out to your local ACLU chapter to chat with a civil rights attorney who may be able to give you advice or direct you towards someone who can if you have received one of these subpoenas. For the rest of us, they're collecting all our data. Just assume that. But make it as hard as possible for them to do so. Obviously, wear masks when protesting and cover identifying marks like tattoos. Additionally, I'm a huge advocate for opting out of all of the ways that they are collecting both our data and our money. Professor Scott Galloway, who hosts, I don't know, a number of popular podcasts, is calling for a large-scale economic boycott, especially targeting tech companies and other businesses that are enabling ICE.
Okay, he is a billionaire. Now, that's fine. He wants to be the ethical billionaire. But to me, he is no better, no matter what words spout out of his mouth, than any other billionaire. And I say abolish all billionaires still. I don't care. I don't care if he goes ice out. This is the easiest ground to stand on right now. To say abolish ICE is the easiest thing to say now. It would be the easiest political W for anyone running right now.
It's called Resist and Unsubscribe. Resistandunsubscribe.com. And just so we're clear, I am not affiliated with Scott Galloway in any way. I've not really consumed a lot of his content, but from what I've seen,
Dude,
I don't
he's
think
a
I align with
billionaire.
him on everything and kind of find him to be a little unlikable. But
He's
I do
billionaire.
like this specific initiative. On resistandunsubscribe.com, they have a really clearly laid out list of subscription-driven consumer tech companies that are aligned with Trump or are enablers of ICE, with direct links to unsubscribe
Yeah,
from them,
unsubscribe
or
from
ways
Prime,
to
yeah.
avoid giving your money or
Take
data
away
to
the
them.
one sub I
found
get
it
a
helpful.
month.
I used
Thanks.
it today to unsubscribe from
Yeah,
YouTube
please do
TV
that.
and Microsoft Office. I've already unsubscribed from Amazon services. I would also add Spotify to the list of companies to stop giving your money and data to.
Oh,
I
but
switched
YouTube's
to Tidal
okay.
Music. And TikTok is now partially owned by Larry Ellison, one of the worst billionaires on the planet, so I no longer use TikTok. I also deleted Instagram from my phone. I will still post there occasionally because...
Okay. This I don't agree with. This is great, whatever. Do it if you want to. This is liberal. Doesn't work. Bullshit. Okay? Galloway's just laughing at me because he's making money, and then his competition is like, I'll just hit him with a couple zingers and they'll lose a little bit of money. This is dumb. This doesn't change shit. This kind of boycotting is stupid. It's my opinion. I also have a really controversy take on recycling too, but I have a controversial take on that.
people do follow me there and I want to get this information out, but I don't give them my money or my data by scrolling for hours. And now when I do download Instagram for some random thing, I am immediately reminded how much I hate it. Once you wean yourself off of these platforms, it's actually kind of a horrifying shock to the system when you dip a toe back in. So I highly recommend delete.
Why? I mean, yeah, save money. That's more important than, oh, I'm ethically unsubscribing from fucking TikTok and then ethically you shouldn't be even on YouTube, period.
It all. I do agree with Scott Galloway's assessment that Trump doesn't give a shit about our votes or our anger or the media or the courts, but he has...
At this point, we need to use everything we have in our power to make ourselves be heard on any fucking platform, in my opinion. This is wrong. This is the wrong kind of thinking. We're not shrinking. We're growing. It's the wrong kind of thinking. We are not shrinking. We are growing, guys. The leftism is not going to shrink. It's not the right thing to do. We need to change this perspective. She has a little bit of it. She's a little bit fatalistic. She's got a little bit of anarchy in her. I like it. It's okay.
Back down when faced with
I can talk
economic
her down.
resistance to his policies. And so the way we use our money, and especially taking back our precious time from these data-guzzling social media platforms, is a powerful tool in our tool belt for resisting this regime. It's, of course, not the only...
It doesn't matter. You cannot isolate yourself from being tracked at this point. There is no reason to even continue to worry about it. They have our bases belong to them. All our bases belong to them already. They already doged, okay? It is legendary. They got the they tapped the network. They still have a tap in there, guys. Doge still has a tap on those computers. Whatever those computers are receiving, Doge is duplicating, i.e. Palantir. Okay, I guarantee it. That's why I'd say that we need, you cannot, she goes to say one thing, she goes, yeah, there's too many of us. And then she's like, hide your fucking information. Like, what? No, we need to fucking obliterate them with too much information. Too much information. We need to obliterate them with base.
only thing, but if all you...
What is this passive bullshit? See, I can't stand this shit. Sorry. I still love her. She's awesome. You're shrinking. Hey. I look at the money I spend every week on my paycheck. 98% of it is food. And I can barely keep myself above normal weight.
Can muster today is clicking a couple links to cancel that Paramount Plus subscription. That would still be huge. I've also been thinking about going more analog. I have a substantial record collection, but also like bring back CDs, honestly. They're good quality and cheap as dirt these days.
Dude, these libs, they want to just go back. They want to go back to Obama. Can't we just go back to the Obama years where no one cared? And everyone thought he was cool and was doing good stuff behind the scenes, but really wasn't. The drone king. The people still think he's cool. I mean, he's cool. He's got Riz. He rizzed a little too close to the goddamn sun, in my opinion. Mr. Obama. Obama. Barack Obama.
So the other week on the show, we talked about how
Yes, sir, Kyle.
they are currently
Yes.
building a bunch of former warehouses.
And we too spoke with Kyle last week, if you were here, about this similar subject. And I yapped about this quite a bit about, concentration camps as well. So yeah, this is great. And we get to add a little bit more to that story, folks. Here we go with part 2.
That they're retrofitting to become ICE concentration
Correct.
camps.
Mhm.
Okay. I believe the number we came across in the articles we read.
This guy's not using hyperbole when he says concentration camp. Literally what they are is when people are concentrated in an area where there's not enough toilets and they're held there and for an indefinite amount of time and things happen. That's exactly what happened in Europe and the concentration camps. They ended up being death camps.
It was 23 different former warehouses that are becoming concentration camps. NPR even reported on one of these places where
oh shit, NPR
it's
on,
like
on
the
the game,
town's
on the
storage
game.
facility, and the federal government is just taking it. They're just stealing it,
What
and
is
they're
this?
going, "This is ours now," and they're going to turn
Oh,
that
no,
into a
that's
concentration
not-
camp.
I don't
and
want
the
that
town
one.
is like, "Wait, excuse me? What? What are you talking about? What are you going to do? That's insane. That's insane." Well, apparently, Migrant Insider has this new article out, and Pablo Reports, the Twitter account, he does phenomenal work on this. It's his reporting, and there's this other mechanism that they're using by which they're basically increasing the funding massively. So they have this colossal budget to build out these like ghost concentration camps around the country. Now, this should scare everybody to fucking death, okay? We already know this regime sent people to CCOT in El Salvador. Well, guess what? There's detailed reporting. People were raped and tortured there. They were raped and tortured.
No shit.
They were so desperate, they cut their hands, were bleeding, and would write messages into their on their sheets with the blood from
That
their
sucks.
hands. This is a nightmare. This is an absolute nightmare, what we're talking about. Not only that, they also had Alligator Alcatraz, which many people, I think, were correctly calling Alligator Auschwitz. Now, I believe that was eventually shut down by the courts.
Yes.
But it was, this big,
But
long
where are the
legal
people that
battle,
were there?
and about
Where are the people?
4,000 immigrants are missing after being sent to Alligator Auschwitz. 4,000. 4,000. And nobody even talks about that. Nobody even talks about that. I'm sorry. That is disgusting in the sense that our media is not doing their job and our Democratic politicians are not doing their job. If you're not... 4,000 people went missing at a place where they bragged about the brutality and the sadism of it. The whole point of Alligator Alcatraz was to be sadistic. Every time it rained the
whole
place
name.
would flood. Okay?
Calling it
The same as
Alcatraz.
all these other places. Moldy bread.
Defaming my
fucking food with worms in
beautiful
it.
Alcatraz
You're not-
Island
You don't get taken to get
with
your
your
medicine if
foul
you
mouth,
have
sir.
healthcare needs. They don't take you to the hospital when you're sick. Okay? People getting all sorts of diseases in there because it's unsanitary conditions. And nobody even talks about this, okay? But this gets even darker. I know you're going, hold on, Kyle. How can it get darker than literal concentration camps?
Hold on, Kyle. I can tell you how dark it can get. It can get so dark you wouldn't know. Actually, I want to personally rebuild actual Alcatraz. The whole thing. The whole island. I'll make it a gold dome. And all the prisoners will go there. That's how dark I can go.
Oh, it can. Oh, it can. And it's going to. I hope you're ready. Here we go. Medical and death. The services extend to medical waste management with specific protocols for biohazard incinerators. Incinerators. So in the reporting on this from Migrant Insider, again, I'll read this for you one more time. In fact, here, I'll click it and make it bigger. Medical and death. The services extend to medical waste management with specific protocols for biohazard incinerators and certified inventory of evidence reports for full-service laundry operations. In other words, in Trump's network of concentration camps, they're building incinerators. 4,000 people are missing from ICE custody. Lawyers can't find them. Family members can't find them. Friends can't find them. There's been at least 40 people who've died in ICE Gestapo custody under Trump's second regime. One of them, there was evidence, was literally lynched, found hanging with his hands tied and his feet tied. And that's
nice.
That's just one person.
Wow.
There's horror stories that are beyond imagination. Even other ICE agents have come out. Some of them have retired and resigned from ICE, and they're telling their stories. And they're saying stuff like, look, I'm against undocumented immigration, but this is treating people in a way that is just not, like, you're immoral. You're unethical if you do this thing. This is torture. This is torture. This is taking away their human rights. These are right-wing people who are retiring and going, I've seen this in the history books, if you know what I'm saying. Incinerated in the concentration camps. You know what's so crazy to me? It really is true.
What are you doing here, Primus?
There's this old saying, I'm going to butcher it here, but to paraphrase it, one person dying is a tragedy. 1 million people dying is a statistic. And I think we're sort of seeing a bit of that in this second Trump regime. It's like one scandal can hold everybody's attention. And
someone killed Charlie Kirk.
And things can change as a result.
11,000 dead in Alcatraz? Who cares?
Over a single scandal. But what is it when you have, I don't know, 35 scandals a week? What is that? Well, then no one scandal can get the same public backlash and out.
Wait, hopefully you didn't lose all that weight worrying about your cat coming back. That would suck, chat.
Rage and ire, and then nothing changes, right? Is that, I forget what they called it. I want to say it was like Rolling Thunder or something like that, but Steve Bannon had this strategy. Of like, flood the zone. Just flood the zone, do 20 things per day that they want to scream about and rip their hair out about.
I guess throwing Steve Bannon under the bus, though.
One or two, maybe 4 of them at most. Okay? And that means you get away with double digits. Double-digit scandals you get away with. The corruption. Think about the corruption. How corrupt can one regime be? Well, like every day you get a new story of, you know, some crypto bullshit where they're robbing their own supporters. Some, you know, foreign billionaires buying his token. Again, money laundering.
Dude, they're sucking off that tit so hard. Come on. They're like, yeah, there's all this fraud in Minnesota. All these Somalis are taking the monies and they're taking your money. Meantime, the back door's open and Trump's out there literally shoveling money to his friends. Not kidding. Might as well be.
Scheme effectively. Trump pardoning the guy CZ from Binance who laundered money for Al-Qaeda because CZ is now in business with him.
Like I said.
And propping Trump up. Okay? Never mind the resort in Vietnam, the fucking resort in Qatar, like all these different things. All totally illegal. Totally illegal. Never mind his watches, never mind the NFTs, all that. Like, all totally illegal. But there's so much of it.
Well, there's a resort in Vietnam.
Hands up and they go, I'm out.
Hold on,
what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to fucking follow all this? How am I supposed to... Like, my outrage meter is broken. It broke. How, like, now it's like nothing can get me outraged because I've seen so many things that are outrageous that, like, what am I supposed to do? Nothing seems to change, right? And that's what they're exploiting in us. That's what they're exploiting in us. They're exploiting that there's so much shit, gonna throw my hands up and go, fuck it, what am I supposed to do? But
Trump International Vietnam, Hun Yin Vietnam. Hun Yin Hospitality Group and Trump Organization announced Vietnam's newest icon, Trump International Vietnam. Stay tuned for more information as we prepare to reveal all the exciting features and opportunities this property has to offer. Hotels.
I don't know, man. Call me old-fashioned. When you start talking about building 23
disgusting.
concentration camps and
1.5 billion luxury golf resort.
This seems, a level above and beyond almost everything else we've ever talked about. Especially because, don't forget that they're not even...
52 holes.
Originally, people thought, oh, it's okay. They're just talking about going after undocumented immigrant violent criminals. Or as they call them, illegal alien violent criminals. Well, it turns out that's bullshit, as all the evidence shows. 86% of the people that ICE has taken are not undocumented immigrant violent criminals. And of the 14% that potentially are, a lot of them are just accused violent criminals. Only a tiny percentage, maybe 5% or less, are actually convicted violent criminals. So that means all these people are being arrested, being detained, some of them being held for literally months, and they no evidence they did anything wrong whatsoever. In fact, according to the courts, at least 4,400 people, it's way more than that, but according to the courts with ongoing lawsuits, at least 4,400 people are totally innocent of any wrongdoing and being held by ICE. So if you think, oh, no, this is their problem. This is somebody else's problem. Is it? Is it? Have you ever said anything anti-Trump publicly? Have you? Because if you have, I kind of think it's your problem. Because remember, they now are implementing what's called NSPM 7, which is this mindset approach of the entire government that Trump put into place, where now, instead of the intelligence agencies focusing on ISIS or Al-Qaeda or, neo-Nazi groups, right-wing terrorism, whatever, fill in the blank with actual threats, instead of doing that, they're now considering anti-Americanism is terrorism, or at least terrorist adjacent. Anti-capitalism, same thing. Anti-Christianity, same thing. If you're an extremist on migration or race or gender, you go on a list. If you're protesting ICE or you're an observer of ICE, you go on a list. I don't think you build out 23 concentration camps unless you're planning on warehousing a hell of a lot of people, even just dissidents, people who are a thorn in your side, people who annoy the shit out of you, right?
Yeah.
And this is where we are. This is where we are in this country. So it's time to wake up. It is time to wake up. 23 concentration camps, and now they're talking about incinerators, building incinerators and again, Migrant Insider talked about it, and we're talking about it. Good luck finding others who actually bring this up, because I do feel like there's still this thing in some people's minds where they go, that actually can't happen here, right? The fuck it can't. How many things which you would have said 12 years ago, you would have said, there's no way that could happen here. How many of those things did already happened? Think about January 6th. Think about the fake elector slate, right? Like, just take that. There was a time, of course, people, there's no way you're going to try to steal an American election. What are you, insane? No one's going to try to steal an American election. Here we are. The guy did it and fucking got away with it. We have a 91-time criminal. He was charged with 91 crimes, Trump was. 34-time convicted felon, okay? Pedophile, rapist, war criminal is now leading us. He's leading us. Who would have thought, if I told you that in fucking 2012, that's what's you would have been like, no way, we're not going to arrest a fucking 34-time felon. What are you, insane? Yeah. Here we are. Here we fucking are. Here we are. So it's time to wake up. It's time to realize what's going on here. And it's time to fight back against this stuff. Because, holy cow, we cannot let this continue. We cannot let this continue. And please, Democrats, wakey, wakey. If this doesn't wake you up, I literally don't know what would wake you up, unless you're actually getting shoved into the gas chambers or into the incinerators, as it was. I also wanted to show you guys this, okay? Some of these warehouses, there's now chatter about some of them being specifically for kids. Watch this. Here we go.
Yes, Donald Trump and ICE and Homeland Security are building a concentration camp for kids in my backyard.
They're like, yeah, of course.
I'm not joking. I live in a town called Gainesville, Georgia, and right on the outskirts of Gainesville.
Get them out.
Tiny little parcel called Oakwood, Georgia, where ICE is planning on opening a 1,500-person concentration camp.
How about you? Thank you,
children.
sir.
The mayor of Oakwood said he had no choice. The federal government pushed this on him, and it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. I've reached out to 7th District Representative Rich McCormick. So to be fair, I haven't heard back from him. I emailed him and said we need a town hall on this to discuss this, because if this goes through, there will be protests every single day at this facility as they bring immigrant children into this concentration camp. That, by the way, I know this building. It is not built to house human beings. It was built for
Humans.
warehousing.
He said human.
There's a big difference.
He said
This is
human.
a concentration camp. I can't even believe this is going to be in my backyard. This is a little town in northeast Georgia. It's not a rich town. It's not a fancy town. It's a little town on a lake. And the people are wonderful. And the hardest working people I know are immigrants. And they're everywhere
so it drops
in this
you
town.
after a minute.
They will literally rip this town to pieces, the way they tried to rip Minneapolis to pieces. But you know what? Just like the Minnesotans, we will fight back. ICE, stay out of Georgia. If you don't, you're going to regret it. Because the videos of you putting children into a concentration camp are going to go all over social media, and I'll be one of the first people there on a regular basis taking video and showing it to my millions of followers across social media.
And we've already seen examples of that. If you guys remember, there was the video, I believe it was an immigration attorney who was at one of these detention facilities, who there was like a big protest among the people who are being detained there, and you heard like the screams and the cries and the yelps of the children. And then you had somebody come out and say, oh, you can't record here, you can't record here, to the guy. We played the video on the show. And so, yeah, wake up. Don't ever believe, oh, it can't happen here. It fucking is happening here right now.
Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
Bye.
Japanese Communist Party pin that I got in. Last time, I was supposed to give you a Japanese Communist Party pin that I got in Japan, and I still forgot to bring it today. So I'm instead going to give you. Do you know what this is?
Mamdani is facing here.
An evil eye.
Because the federal government.
So I'm going to give that to you.
Led by
We say
Donald
in
Trump,
Turkey we say nazar, which means like you know.
Cities that are led by
I'm having a hard
Democrats.
time taking this off.
All right, well, you give it to me later.
Okay.
I
don't
want to use up the whole 5 minutes here getting it done.
You're right.
So what this is about is saying to the Democrats, you know what? The way he's terrorized LA, the way he's terrorized Chicago. The only thing,
And at the same
even though we're
time,
seeing
they
increased
cut
ICE.
healthcare by $1 trillion. $50 trillion in tax breaks. And at the same time, they cut healthcare by $1 trillion. 15 million Americans, including 3 million here in California, are going to lose their health care in order to give tax breaks to people who don't need it. That's why I'm here. Enough is enough.
So there is one person, the governor of California, that is actually quite critical of the billionaire's tax. Do you have a message for Gavin Newsom?
He does what he does. He and I disagree on the issue. And that's about it.
Okay. All right. Fine. I am a little bit more critical than you are, I guess, at least.
So you're not as nice a guy as I am. That's about
that's
it.
True. That's true. Exactly.
Coming. Rezzing. Rest. No. Couldn't save you. I'm sorry, brother.
Constructing my barrier.
Right, chat. Meow.
Our enemy have commandeered the payload.
Fuck. Fuck. I died. He's so weak. One hit from the junk right, I'm toast. No one's killing junk. I got junk. Though. Okay.
Play of the game. Power at my fingertips.
Been checking her get. Okay. Where like the game?
Traveling to New Queen Street. Prepare for battle. Select your hero.
Okay.
Tools in hand, brain in key.
A volatile creation.
Heads fold and ready to go.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Objective unlocks in 30 seconds.
Forget. Stream is insane to me. I'm giving you guys 1080p at 10K. I think you deserve it. I don't even think Shroud's giving out that much. Oh god. You wanna test me, bitch? You wanna test me? I didn't think so. Ripple! Perez! I love you.
The barricade is moving along.
Back, boy.
They're going to love this. Make your maker proud. Nice, we've taken the lead.
Exactly. You can't do that with Orb. You can't come in like that, bro. Can't. Sorry. Pushing boys. Farming, dude. Just farming. This is too fun. He's too fun. He's too fun. This should be illegal. This should be illegal. No, thank you. What is he doing? Is this a bot? No backup, no support. God, he doesn't know how to play, does he? I feel bad. Oh, I'm frozen. Oh no. I might die. Oopsie. Oh, my support is gonna get me. That was 12. I'm good. I guess 12 was good. Let's keep sneak up behind him.
High hopes for you.
Oh god, I got her. Look out. I wasted it. Okay, they're countering now better. Thankfully. Alright, we're still ahead. We chill. We're good. We got a good push. Keep forgetting about the perks, dude. They're new to me. Yeah, I'm farming again. I'm farming.
Got an enemy here.
Thank you. Fucking Reaper, dude. I knew it. Kill him! Kill him! Get the Reaper. Thank you. Dude, come on! You're done. Stop it! Why does he keep trying to solo me? I don't understand. You can't do it. You can't solo me like that. That's so dumb. I feel bad, bro. Pushinta. It's okay. It's fine. We're chill. I don't even have my cannon out. That was a good moment. Oh, it's on the robot. Oh no. Can I hammer her? Yes. Correct. Correct. Sorry, guys. I got too much experience with this guy. There. There's no way. Good game. I am 35.
Play of the game.
Yeah, they just didn't switch quick enough. I mean, that tank's good, but you can't charge with him. Yes! Yes! I got POTG.
Select a map.
USA. Only played this map once. Uno. Okay, I don't want to play cat. I don't understand how to use my butt plug, so.
I carry my burdens alone.
I won't be playing cat.
There is always room for improvement.
This is true.
Whoa, that gun must do a ton of DPS.
Nope. This little tiny railgun? Nah. Weak at.
See you at the finish line. Ready for vendetta. Attack the objective.
Look out, right side, right side. Look out, he's coming. Come, 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 come. Left side, left side. Behind Fleck. Can't see you. Cat here. Charging. Kill him, kill him, kill him, kill him, kill him. Kill, kill. Fuck, I fell. Yes. Good, good kill. Him too. One. Here. Yes. Nice. Good job.
Retribution comes.
What? That was... Why? 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 This guy's hungry, dude. Why are you so hungry, bro? Why is he so hungry? Oh, their Ryan's dead. What a dumbass. Good job. I'm coming. I got some heals for you. Come to me, come to me, come to me. Got 2 pylons, right? Back. We got behinds here. Flames, flames, behinds. What the fuck is that? Behind us. Left. We got a cat. He's weak. Right on. Ryan. Look out, look out. Nice. Oh, fuck. Well, I could fall there. Get wrecked. Alright, we got it.
Focus on the objective.
I like this map. What? Except for... as I die. At least my pylon helped. Nice. Well, there's definitely holes in this game. Look out for the holes. Get him. He hurt his head. Halt. Ouch. Ouch. These two. I think I countered it.
Enemy here!
We're still ahead.
I'm on fire! What else is new?
No, Diva. missed it. Anna. Anna. Are you dying? Don't die, don't die. Nice. We're missing one. Red pylon, bitch. All right. Sorry, that was fucking hilarious. Look out. I mean, you want to do it again, that's fine. Round 2, baby. Round 2. Suggest you wait for yours. They should probably wait for their tank, don't you think? No! I couldn't stay on. I'm dead. We're shooting off point, dude. Let's go. Be on fire, baby. Corner. Gosh, I couldn't move. I even see him. It's okay. It's high. They're on my ass. They're hunting me. Look out for that. Cassidy, Cassidy.
Okay, this will help.
Oh no! That was bad. Oh, he's mad at me. Rightfully so.
Mi camino no termina aquí. Mecca, securing the point.
Was not enough.
Over here.
I'm coming. Trying. God, couldn't do anything. Ah! Got him. Let's go, let's go. They're weak. Fuck, I missed. Ah, she's dead. No. What does she do? I can't do that. We're all insane. Nice ult, Diva. I thought you were the enemy, Jesus. Let's go, right here. We're gonna charge. Get him. Any deals? What is he doing? Oh no, we're in trouble. Let's go. You're back. Oh no! Double ulted! I mean, I am healing. Crazy. It's okay. Oh, I'm sorry. GG. Yeah, that was the fucking... Her ult is insane. What is this ult, dude? Never even seen this. What the fuck? Casually throwing the thing around. It's that easy. It's that easy, chat? Is it that easy? Really?
Vote for a map. Now entering King's Row.
Cool, Anna skin. Let's try her out. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Anna skins.
I will not leave a broken world behind.
I will create pathways to victory.
I'm just here for the weed.
Make sure you follow them.
Have I seen you before? It's possible. I've passed through Junkertown once or twice.
You're the one who kicked Redneck.
Definitely seen me before.
He started it.
I don't think so.
Being fortified.
Were you expecting a miracle?
5, 4, 3, Capture objective
I slept her! Oh no. She shadowed you out, dude. Go. Hey, Cassie. What the fuck? Go right, go right. Yeah, they had it. Hello? Oh no, I missed you. Junkrat. Left. Junkrat's behind you, dude. Okay, I took care of him. Let's go. Get him. Got it. No, we don't have it.
You're powered up. Get in there.
Step right up.
Not good. Haha. Behind us. Get him! Nice ult. Go. Oh, I'm sorry. No! Kill him! Fucker got me, Jesus.
Objective A captured. Escort the payload.
I go out on my terms.
Look out. Junkrat! Hop! Junkrat. Behind. Nice, good kill. Go back. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I can't get you. Watch out. Wait. Okay. That's what I thought. Nice. Nice. We got it. Junkrat. Nice. Didn't kill you. Killed me. I'm sorry. We got a couple. Okay.
I still have some fighting.
I love bit skaty face.
Hard work is rewarded.
No time to game. Let's move this thing.
I missed him.
Over there.
Kill him. Turret. There's a turret. I didn't see it. Oh man. Can't heal you fast enough. Must switch.
We're here to be heard. Let's get that payload going, people. Heel to this beat. You want that louder?
We gotta hurry. No. There's turrets everywhere. Yeah, they just hard countered us. That's why they won. Alright, chat, that's it for me. I will see you guys tomorrow, chat. Hasta la vista, baby.